Today, we hope you enjoy it. Memphis and Tennessee. Of course, the last time they met, one of the great shockers in all of college football when Memphis won, and that's the only game they have won in the series. Tennessee has won 15 of them. Cedric takes it at the 6. 15. Got a little lane. Still going. 30, 35, 36-yard line for Cedric Wilson. Rashad Bailey made the stop from the special team. He's a fullback. Tennessee, of course, will... There's T. Martin coming out on the field. We'll have to watch him closely to see if there's any indication that the shoulder is giving him a problem. Vols line it up in the I formation here. Memphis puts a lot of people up front, and we'll see if their strategy is to try to stop Jamal and make T throw it. T. Martin, long count at quarterback, gives it off to his tailback. He's got a little bit of daylight, a couple of yards before the Tigers collapse on the left side and knock him down, led by Shakir, the middle linebacker. Vols offensively, Clifton, Weary, Riley, Coleman, and Tucker up front. A veteran line with the exception of Weary, but of course, great talent there.
You need to keep in mind Spencer Riley is snapping today with his left hand. He had suffered a broken hand against Florida, so he's snapping actually with his left hand today. It could cause some problems. Let's hope not.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that one. Memphis into a blitz, and they blitzed pretty much into the running play that time and knocked down Jamal Lewis after practically no gain. It was Andre Arnold coming in first to make the initial contact, and there you see the lineup: Arnold, Lewis, Bell, and Lawless. The linebacking core pretty active: Stiles, Shakir, and Shank. And in the secondary, as Charles told you, the strength of this team with Howard, Stone, Bashir, and Powell. All right, the Vols now looking down at a 3rd and 8 situation. So Memphis trying to make it 3 and out for the Vols. Pass almost intercepted, intended for Parker, but it led him just a step too far. And Howard almost had a hand on that one, Charles.
Very active in the secondary, but the first 3 snaps of the ball game, 3 different looks by Memphis on the front. You know, the first time they lined up pretty solid, about 8 guys in the box, met Jamal for a 2-yard gain. Second play, they moved around a little bit. Blockers had a tough time picking them up. Third down, you couldn't tell where they were coming from. That made things difficult for Tennessee's offensive line. They got a 3 and out, a lot of confidence for Memphis's defense.
Dodson is back to receive. Leverton gets off a beauty all the way down to almost the 10-yard line, and the Vols trying to close in and do run him out of bounds. No chance for a return. Good coverage that time on a tremendous punt by David Leverton. All right, so Memphis goes on offense right now, and that punt was for 51 yards by Leverton. Of course, they have lost Loudermilk, their place kicker. Tennessee discovered this week that he had a stress fracture in the lower back, and he's out for the season, so it's changed things. Alex Walls will be the place kicker. Leverton will, in addition to punt, do kickoff as well. Suber, who's a big quarterback, weighs almost 240 pounds. We'll see a couple of quarterbacks for Memphis today. They put a man in motion to the top of your screen and throw to that man. He's surrounded out there, but still fighting for yardage, but there's none to be had as Dodson is knocked down. Take a look at the Tiger offense on the line. Hicks, Esposito, Seymour, Sherrod, and Hampton. Pretty active group, although not a whole lot of experience. Suber at quarterback, Bailey at fullback, Riley, Dodson, Coutain, and Kendall. Although I think we'll have a different tailback starting this particular ball game, who was injured last week, and they're back with their original tailback for the Tigers, so we'll be checking that for you. But they'll use about 3 in the course of this game at least. They're stepping off a penalty against the Volunteers.
You know, Bob, last week that was one of the keys to the game, the mistakes Tennessee made, the penalties, and we start out on defense. First play of the game with another penalty. I know Coach Fulmer's not very happy starting out the game on defense with a penalty.
Well, actually, they set a school record last week of 15 penalties, and they're off to a horrendous start as far as that is concerned on the season compared to last year and in recent years. All right, Suber brings his team up looking at a 1st and 10 in much better situation. Turns around, gives it off to his tailback, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing there. That's Gerard Arnold, who was hurt last week, Charles, but is back in the lineup now. Defensively, the Vols have Ellis, Radcliffe, Walker, and Overstreet. All veterans there. Linebacking core, Westmoreland and Raynock, two of the best in the country, and Dominique playing pretty well in the middle. Secondary, Lott, Goodrich, Allen, and Grant. Allen is starting in place of Fred White, who came down ill, and Mickey has replaced him. Mickey has been in the nickel package this year and has done quite well. Already has a couple of interceptions. Suber wants to throw, got a man out there. Think he was out of bounds. Darian Dodson.
See Suber in this play going straight back, straight drop back, looking for the #1 receiver in Memphis history now in terms of catches, Damian Dodson, a senior out of Memphis, one of the big recruits from Rip Shear's first class coming out there, because he said we have to reclaim Memphis as our recruiting area, start getting some more of those Memphis kids to stay at home. Dodson was one of them, has had a fine career there. He's a guy that they need to get the ball to today to have a chance.
There are about 4 or 5 in there this year that everybody is after as well. Suber puts a man in motion to his right. Rolls back, wants to throw, got immediate pressure, fumbled the football, but fell on it. Sean Ellis all over that one. Sean really smothering the situation, giving Suber no chance whatsoever, and so the Tigers will go into a punt formation. Good defensive series there for the Vols.
Excellent defensive series for them. You know, the tough part for this with Memphis trying to get something done is they have an offensive line that averages over 300 pounds per man, but you have to block someone, and that didn't happen on that play. Sean Ellis would love to see that happen all day. Anytime you're not blocked, you ought to make a play.
All right, Ryan White back to punt now. Here's the kick. He gets it out of there. It's a very nice one. It's going to drive Tennessee all the way back to the 30-yard line, where Eric Parker is trying to find some running room, and he gets a little. Nice return that time by Eric Parker to set up Tennessee on offense right now. Jim Candy is the punter. I may have said Ryan White, but Ryan White's the place kicker. That covered 56 yards. And guys, we've seen 2 punts right here that can totally turn field position around real quick.
Well, it can, and you look at last week's game, and we talk about field position being so important, and Tennessee won the field position battle early in the Florida game, but really didn't make use of it, didn't get the points out of it. We've had 2 exchanges here. Tennessee's come out on top. They're almost to the 50. Let's see what they can do this week with it.
Well, they've got a timeout right now down on the field. It's going to be charged, I think, to one of the officials who stepped in and called it. No score in this football game in the first quarter in Knoxville.
A couple interesting things came out of the first series for both ball clubs. Memphis has to have a lot of confidence on defense for getting Tennessee to go 3 and out. After that first penalty on the first play, Tennessee has to feel the same way, because essentially it was a 3 and out for them also, making big plays. Memphis really didn't have a chance to get anything done. You talked about the tailback, Bob, Gerard Arnold, who's back from an ankle injury. He didn't play at all last week against Arkansas State, and he is the all-time leading rusher in terms of single season for the University of Memphis. He set that record last year with 1,059 yards. So they're glad to have him back, but in his stead, Tafilo O'Reilly ran for 103 yards last week, and Jeff Sugar Sanders ran for 94. So as you said, we should expect to see all of them run the ball today.
All right, Henry has come in at tailback right now for Tennessee. And T is going into the shotgun. Memphis faking a blitz. Long pass downfield, incomplete. Actually hit the Memphis receiver. David Martin was the intended receiver, and no chance to catch that one.
We see Tennessee came out this time. Earlier in the game, the first series, it came out with a tight end and basically a running formation. Tennessee comes out this time, 1 back, 4 receivers, put T in the shotgun, maybe to get him away from the line a little bit so he can see things a little bit better. Something we didn't see very much against the Gators last week.
Bashir was up there defensively that time for Memphis, for the Tigers. All right, T goes under the center this time. Got plenty of time to throw, and fires complete to Cedric Wilson, who's dropped at midfield. I don't want to guess on this, but I will. I think somebody was offsides that time for Memphis, and I'm not sure he got back on the right side of the line.
I think that's what they call an educated guess there, Bob. That's pretty good, catching him jumping at the bottom, the guy trying to get off on the quick start. I think he got out there ahead of him.
Andy, can you tell anything about T's throwing motion? Do you detect anything wrong there?
Not really. I watched him a little bit when he was out warming up before the teams came out, and the first couple of throws here, the first one was a little off target. He did take a lick on his shoulder on that side.
From the original line of scrimmage. Replay, second down.
He did take a lick on that first series on the 3rd down, and he bounced back. So from what I can tell, his motion looks fine and looked like that ball had a lot of zip on it. So hopefully his shoulder won't affect his throwing today, and hopefully he won't take too many shots on it either.
Tennessee dressed all in orange for the first time in a long time. T. Martin stands up, fires it out in the flat quickly. And they try to get to the first down marker and may have gotten there. Cedric Wilson, I think he's right at it. Howard made the stop defensively out of the secondary for Memphis.
Another point, we're talking about Spencer Riley snapping left-handed. Also, Tennessee obviously coming out in the shotgun a little bit today. Need to keep an eye on the shotgun snaps, because obviously that's not his natural snapping hand. That could be a little difference for him on the shotgun snaps as well.
Yeah, you think about that. That's changing hands and trying to snap into the shotgun. That could be very awkward, but so far so good.
Obviously, this week in practice, they didn't have much problems, because they wouldn't have done it if it had been a big problem.
T. Martin comes out of there running with the football and picks up a little positive yardage before he is dropped by Shakir, the middle linebacker.
We see T wasn't shy that time to tuck it and run. He's obviously not thinking too much about his shoulder. He didn't hesitate at all when he felt some pressure, just to step up and take it on his own.
You see T. Martin's numbers. Tell you what, he is a very solid quarterback who in his career has lost one football game, and that was last week by 2 points. So can't say enough. Extremely strong guy, much stronger perhaps than a lot of people think. Bench press is over 400. Here's a little pass out in the flat, trying to get some yardage, and finally Cedric does get to the out of bounds mark and gets forward for what may be close to a first down. Looks like it might be about a half a yard shy. There's Cedric Wilson, who's still, guys, carrying the load for Tennessee. Tennessee has still got to find somebody else to give Cedric a break.
Well, you will, and I think you'll see it today. Tennessee looks like, especially this series, they're going to spread Memphis out. Memphis does so much stuff on defense. Looks like Tennessee's philosophy this series is to spread them out, let them do all their stuff inside, and just take quick hitters out to the receivers.
All right, the give is to the tailback, and there's plenty of room for the first down and then some, as Travis Henry rumbles forward. And again, Kamal Shakir from middle linebacker, who's been pretty active early on, made the stop. The linebacking core not that highly publicized, Charles, but they look like they're pretty active.
They're very active, and Kamal Shakir was a Sporting News freshman first-team All-American, so obviously he can play. He leads them in total hits coming into this ball game. Casper Stiles out on the outside, and also Demario Shank, very active as you mentioned. Expect to see them around the football a lot today.
Bobby Graham has been in there at that third receiver, so that may be an experiment that they're checking on early to see how his progress is. T. Martin got a little time, throws it high, and throws it away. Memphis receiver or defensive back closing on Dante Stallworth very rapidly, so it may be by choice that he let that one ride a little high.
Looked like good coverage all the way around. I didn't really see anybody come open, and like you said, it is a good that went out of bounds, because if it had been a little lower, it might have been picked off.
Seems interesting early, Andy, when you watch Tennessee coming out. You talked about them spreading them out, hoping to get them into more base defenses. And also people expect Tennessee to run the ball down their throat. And that hasn't happened so far yet.
T2 of 5 for 10 yards. This time the give is to Travis Henry, and he goes off guard down to about the 30-yard line where the Tigers bring him down.
And again, in some of the thinking for Coach Foreman maybe also to spread them out, get some quick throws in, and actually see how T's going to react in a game situation with the injury, and just to get his confidence back, to get some completions, and also on the other hand spread them out, and it could open the middle up maybe a little bit for the running game.
Tennessee came into this game a 30-point favorite, an awful lot of points for a defense for Memphis that's been playing pretty well. T rolls, looking, going to keep it and come up a little bit shy of the first, but still get positive yardage before Bashir out of the secondary knocks him down. But T. Martin is showing absolutely no fear of running the football, so obviously he is not concerned about the shoulder right now.
See a good pickup there, the linebacker. T he was flushed out of the pocket, and not much room for the first down there, but he did get positive yards. And again, he's not shying away from running the ball right now.
All right, Tennessee looking down now here at a 4th and 3, so they will bring on Alex Walls to attempt the field goal on the 38, making it a 48-yard attempt. It's no good. It sails off to the side, and so Tennessee has attempted 2 field goals this year, and both now have been no good. So that's a factor to keep in mind, because last year, guys, remember how many games Jeff Hall figured so prominently in.
Yeah, last year and over his career. I mean, that's one of the things that's been a hallmark at the University of Tennessee has been the kicking game. They've always had good kickers and punters, good coverage, good return guys. But don't forget also Loudermilk, the one he missed, that was the first time he ever kicked in game competition. The one we just saw Alex Walls miss, the first time he's kicked in game competition. They have to have time to grow, and unfortunately Loudermilk won't get any more attempts.
All right, here is Super back to throw, throws it out in the flat. It is complete. Tennessee made a desperate diving effort to try to intercept it, but not so, and it's pretty good yardage up across the 35 out to about the 37-yard line is Gerard Arnold. There he is. Raynock was one of the first men to hit him. Raynock and Westmoreland continue to perform at the same level they performed at last year, and that's championship level. Of course, they missed the great Al Wilson in the middle. But Dominic Stevenson, number 28, you'll see in your screen from time to time, is coming along nicely. He is an outstanding athlete. Motion penalty called against Memphis, so that's a costly one for them, and we'll pull it back.
You talked about penalties at the opening of the show, Bob, and you talked about it in terms of Tennessee last week having 15 and not exhibiting.
Illegal formation, offense, 5 yards. Repeat, first down.
Not exhibiting the discipline that Coach Fulmer and his staff want out of them. Memphis has to be cognizant of that also. This is not a team that's very strong offensively, so they cannot afford to go backwards by what they do. You know, they have to have every opportunity to go forward, and they can't set themselves back with penalties.
Well, they put themselves a little bit of a hole. First down and 15, and nowhere to go for Arnold. He is crushed down by Billy Ratliff, one of the first men to hit him, big number 40. Billy still showing plenty of quickness despite a lot of injuries down through the years and some knee surgery here and there, but he still gives it his all. So it becomes second down and still, well, maybe has lost actually about a half a yard or so. A good solid 15, maybe closer to 16. This time they spread the field. 3 receivers at the top of your screen. Suber steps back now, and we have a flag. And substitution, I believe. Is that the call?
Yeah, it's going to be substitution. It's a rule of emphasis this year in the NCAA. You can't break the huddle with 12 or more, more than 11 guys in the huddle, and you have they give you like a 3-second count to get off the field. But Billy Kendall, number 88, the tight end, was trying to get off the field late coming out of the huddle. That's an automatic penalty. So just as we were talking about, Memphis can't set themselves back. Now it's second and a whole lot of yardage.
The referee in this game is R.G. Detillier from Louisiana. Okay, Memphis in that spread formation once again. Tennessee trying to put a lot of pressure on him. They completed in the flat. Miss one tackle, do not miss the second. Damian Dodson out there with some speed, some quickness, but couldn't get away from Mickey Allen. Mickey Allen started this game in place of Fred White, who's sick. Memphis has had 4 rushes for a minus 12 yards.
And this is almost a run just by where they throw it. It's very close to being a lateral. It's a little swing pass, hoping for guys to miss. You called the first missed tackle, Bob. Mickey Allen did not miss the second one. But on second and long yardage, that's a tough play to call because you're counting on people missing a whole lot of tackles, and that doesn't happen often.
Twin receivers on each side, tremendous pressure. They throw this kind of a middle screen, and there's a slant in the middle, and it picks up very good yardage out to Curtain, out to almost the first down marker. Deion Grant comes up from safety to lead the Tennessee defense. We'll see where they spot it.
You know, obviously Memphis coming in expecting a lot of pressure from Tennessee from the Wyoming game. Didn't get the sacks against Florida they wanted, but that's one of the ways to combat a good pass rush is set up screens.
Yeah, we used to remember when they used to call that in. They used to call it a little smash route coming inside because you either smashed through and got long yardage or you got smashed by the defensive back. This is what a lot of the coaches now call a jailbreak screen because they're counting on the defensive line all coming free at the quarterback. Like a jailbreak, they throw it over the top, and they did a good job on that play.
Big down, guys. They're going to go for it. 4th down and 1 in their own territory on the 35-yard line. Memphis may be just trying to draw Tennessee offsides, and I think that's probably the case.
Trying to play a little game there, Bob, and they brought in the backup quarterback, Anglin, to make it even look better because he's the runner for them. So now they take the penalty, drop back and punt it, and try and play a little more field position.
Well, Tennessee did show some pretty good discipline right there, something that the coach has questioned for the past couple of ball games.
I have a feeling that came up a lot this week in practice. They talk about discipline.
Candy will be in punt formation now for the Memphis Tigers, and Parker will be standing back. There's Candy, very solid kicker. His first one was for over 50 yards. Tennessee needs to break something in the kicking game. It hasn't happened this year, although they've been close a couple of times. This one's a kind of a low sailor, and Parker will step outside. Now cuts back in, heads for the sidelines, does have some room, still looking. Eric Parker is long gone. Touchdown, Tennessee. No flags. Well, we said they needed something in the kicking game, and they got 69 yards from Eric Parker.
Well, a huge play by Parker. Nice job, nice protection up front. The up backs did a good job not clipping anybody. Thought we saw a clip pretty close right there. Keeps his balance, and a huge play in the kicking game. Tennessee struggled a little bit offensively the first couple series. That's a great way to kind of break that and maybe get the offense going a little bit. A big play in the special teams. Tennessee's needed that.
All right, Alex Walls will attempt his first extra point. It is up there, and it is good. A little bit of a confident shot for him right there. And so replacing Loudermilk, he attempts and makes his first extra point. Well, that was an electrifying situation. Brought the homecoming crowd to its feet here at Neyland Stadium.
Again, you see the up backs. They had a chance. That's very, very crucial for the up backs. The guys are the personal protectors for the return guy, not to clip. That's the easiest position to get a clip called, because you are trying to protect your guy who's basically vulnerable. They did a good job just getting in the guy's way. Parker made the catch and then did the good blocking, but he did a lot on his own too, keeping his balance, getting up the sideline, and basically nobody was there.
And he did a really good job of doing what they teach you to do as a punt returner. Your responsibility as punt returner is, number one, handle the ball cleanly. Number two, you make the first guy miss. He's often unblocked, and that's by design. We usually don't account for guys coming downfield the first guy, because if the punt returner can't make the first guy miss, he's not a very good punt returner anyway. He shouldn't be the guy. And Eric Parker did a good job of that. Then picked up the blocks. Good point, Andy, on the up backs, making nice blocks. And you saw in the middle there a nice block on the inside that was very close to being a clip, but I think a good call by the officials because he caught him up high.
All right, we're going to see David Leverton now kicking off, and this is a new job for him. Of course, Robert Loudermilk handled the place kicking and the kickoff duties. Leverton, the punter, will step in for the injured Loudermilk and perform those duties for the Vols. Here he comes, gets a pretty good one off. All the way into the end zone. No return. Whoa. Where have you been? That's the question that's going to be asked around the stadium now.
And the Tennessee fans love to see that, and I know Coach Former's happy to see that getting just like Florida last week. It was tough on Tennessee coming from the 20 every time, and maybe this can be a weapon for Tennessee now, getting to the end zone, making the offense have to go 80 yards every time after a touchdown, after a score, and that's tough.
And don't forget, big plays electrify the team all the way through. You know, the punt return there, so now you have Leverton come out.
After the play was ruled dead, personal fouls, both teams, penalties offset, first down at the 20.
Well, that's not really a surprise. Homecoming game, Memphis with the upset 96. These guys are going to get at each other pretty well. But as I was saying, that's going to electrify everyone. Leverton came out. He's fired up after that one. He puts it in the end zone. Let's see how the defense carries over after Eric Parker's punt return.
All right, Memphis falling behind 7-0. Let's see what their offense can do here. Suber at quarterback. Got receivers on each side, one in motion. Catane goes in motion. They turn and hand it off to the tailback, and he's smacked down right in his tracks. Bailey had nowhere to go that time, actually running out of fullback. But everybody in the middle, led by Sean Ellis, made the stop that time for Tennessee.
I think was frustrating for the Memphis staff is they have this offensive line that weighs over 300 pounds, and they made some changes in preseason to get their 5 best guys on the in the lineup, and they still can't run the football effectively. When you have guys over 300 pounds, Andy, as you know, that's made to order for a running game. They just haven't gotten it done yet.
All right, receivers, 2 of them set to the right this time. Lone running back, Suber back to throw, getting a little quick pressure. It's knocked up in the air, and you kind of hold your breath on that one, thinking perhaps Tennessee had a chance for a interception. The old tip drill right there, but Deion Grant was the man in the middle of things. What a year he is having. If he decides to come out this year, and of course everybody's hoping, certainly connected with the University of Tennessee, he doesn't, but he will be a top 10 pick, I would think.
He has the whole package: size, range. He'll hit you coming up in the run support, and we've seen how he can cover the whole field back at the free safety position.
Memphis third down. They're 0 for 2 in third downs. This time they come pretty close, though, to picking it up. It's going to depend on the spot. I think a little bit shy. Dominic Stevenson made the stop of Gerard Arnold. Flag down back around the 16-yard line. So we'll have to wait and see what the situation is here. That was thrown perhaps in the Memphis backfield, but looks like they're conferring with Tennessee on this one. That's Eric Westmoreland, number 42, saying take it back.
That'll be a field position
Holding.
move.
Offense. 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. Replay third down.
Yeah, field position move by Phil Fulmer, because really it was going to be fourth down. They were short of that, and chances are Memphis doesn't go for it this early in the ball game, so he wants to settle back some more, play field position, counting on the defense to hold again.
And as you said earlier, this is not a situation Memphis wants to be in. A team that's kind of struggling on offense to get themselves in third and long situations, especially in a hostile situation with their backs right at their own goal line.
All right, they do have the back to the goal line. Let's see what the Tennessee defense does here. Well, Memphis put it in the air. Will they try to stay on the ground? They've had no success on the ground to speak of at all. We're waiting the reset of the chains. Tennessee leading in the first quarter, 7-0. Homecoming for the Vols here in Knoxville. Suber with one running back, twin receivers at the top of your screen. Suber's back to throw. He's in trouble. He's down. Sean Ellis. Ellis is having a career day early here in the first quarter. He's been all over the place, guys.
Yeah, he's going to be up here looking for the athletic director, Tennessee, Doug Dickey, to see if he can get Memphis on the schedule 5 or 6 times during this season. This is really working well for him. 13 sacks versus Wyoming for this defense. 0 versus Florida, despite putting some pressure on the quarterbacks. Just didn't get there and complete the job. So they're real happy to have someone back there today like Neil Suber, who really can't move in the pocket. You know, Bob and Andy's not very mobile, so they know where to find him. 7 steps, meet at the quarterback.
It's fourth down and a mile to go, so Charles mentioned field position. Tennessee should have great field position. The punter, Candy, will stand right at the back of the end zone, and Parker is actually lined up in Memphis territory to receive at about the 48-yard line. His last time, he went all the way 69 yards for a return.
Delay a game. Offense. Half the distance to the goal. Still fourth down.
All right, this puts a little more pressure on the Memphis team. Delay of the game, half the distance. So let's see if Tennessee has the return on or the block here. I'm guessing return at this stage.
I think it'd be a wise move. All you want is the football now to keep your momentum up. You don't want to take a chance of running into the kicker, because Memphis is really struggling at this point.
Not a whole lot of pressure, and Candy gets one out of there. It's a nice high sailor that Parker will take right at the 49-yard line and makes a nice return down across the 40 into vicinity of the 38-yard line before he is dropped by Joe Racconi. 46 yards on the kick that time for Candy. So the Vols put it in position right here in real good shape as far as field position is concerned, leading 7-0. We're in the first quarter, getting late with a little over a minute to go in the quarter. T. Martin all the way at quarterback, of course. Jamal and Henry have alternated some, primarily Jamal at tailback.
Here's a time with Tennessee in the past where you may look to come up top, well, a running play here, but a time for a big play. After a big offensive play, a big special teams play, the defense holds. A lot of times an offense will come out and try to hit a team quickly with a big play. But Tennessee comes out and gets a big play on the ground.
Jamal Lewis looking good, rambling downfield on that one. UT leading Memphis by a score of 7-0.
Might have missed a face mask there also. That's one way to bring Jamal down, grab him by the face mask.
Vols receivers on each side. Fullback stays in. T is unhappy with the way things look, and so we do have a flag down. Don't know if the clock ran out. I wasn't looking.
Right to the snap. Ball start. Offense.
Nope.
5 yards.
There's
Still second down.
one of those plays that Coach Fulmer will not like.
Especially here in Knoxville, in a place like Gainesville last week, you know, that's going to happen once or twice. Not as many times. It shouldn't happen as many times as it did, but that's almost understandable. But here at home, when it's quiet, that's really hard to take.
Well, there's the penalty situation. 8 against Wyoming, 15 against Florida. Way, way too many. T. Martin puts it in the stomach of his fullback. Fumble. Going to be picked up by Memphis. This could be a foot race. Finally, T. Martin makes the play.
Bad situation there. The fumble picked up, but a great job by T. Martin getting up, getting back, and making a tackle. That you never know. As a quarterback, you obviously don't want interceptions, you don't want fumbles, but when one does happen, you got to turn around and become a defender. And T. Martin does a good job of getting downfield, running the defender down, and making the tackle. Possibly could be one of the big plays of the game. You never know.
Henry was the man who fumbled.
Yeah, that was that active Memphis defense again. Kamal Shakir, the middle linebacker, came through unblocked, made the play, stripped Henry of the ball. Then Idris Bashir, the secondary man, picks it up and runs it back.
T. Martin saved a touchdown. Everybody jumps, flags go down everywhere, so we're going to have either offsides or motion penalty right here.
Right to the snap. Full start. Offense.
It'll be against
Please
Memphis.
reset the clock to read 4 seconds.
Going back to that fumble, Bob and Andy.
4 seconds.
Got to add 4 seconds to the game clock there for the last play of the quarter. But Andy, when you were playing, was it the rule of thumb? If you threw an interception as a quarterback, you'd better make the tackle.
You better be the guy that
better
if he gets through there.
And in this case, it was a fumble, and T showed the heart and the grit getting over there and making that tackle. Who says quarterbacks aren't tough?
All right, Memphis with the football. This will be the last play of the quarter. And the quarterback, nowhere much to go. Raynock Thompson made the stop. Anglin is in at quarterback now. He is a much quicker, much more athletic quarterback than Suber. That's the end of the quarter with the score. Tennessee 7, Memphis nothing.
We'll have to make some adjustments. Like you said, Memphis they do a lot of different things. It takes time to adjust sometimes against a defense like that.
All right, Anglin remains in at quarterback, and the handoff looked like he was bobbling it. Got a little bit of yardage, though, as Gerard Arnold got down to close to the 20-yard line. We're just starting the second quarter of play here in Knoxville, with the Volunteers leading the Tigers by a score of 7-0. The last time these two met was in Memphis. Tennessee appeared to be on their way to a major bowl, and the roof fell in on the Vols. They'd like to make amends right here, big time. Memphis goes into the shotgun. Anglin, a little shuffle pass forward, and it's a pretty good play. Picks up about 5 yards down there. Gerard Arnold carrying the football down to around the 15-yard line before he is stopped by primarily Darwin Walker. Well, guys, there's the first quarter situation. First downs, not a whole lot of activity there for either one. Neither in the rushing department, especially for Memphis. Passing yardage. In other words, not a real progressive, outstanding first quarter offensively.
No, but one of the game maxims handed down from General Neyland at Tennessee is press the kicking game for here's where the breaks are made, and that's how Tennessee leads 7-0 with the punt return by Parker.
Ryan White will attempt a field goal since they came up a little bit short on the first down. His field goal is up there from 22, making it a 32-yard effort. It's good. As we told you, and Charles pointed out at the top of the show, an excellent field goal kicker, and this one is for 32 yards, and it puts Memphis on the scoreboard. So we have a 7-3 game here in Knoxville.
Well, the defense comes up. Tennessee on offense gives us a big turnover to Memphis. Tennessee on defense really does their job, Charles, holding them to a field goal attempt.
Yeah, they did that. Remember what that was called, Andy? Sudden change. You know,
Exactly.
And you practice that situation, how guys come through. Here's the kick by Ryan White. We talked about him at the top of the show. He's 18 for 20 in his 2 years as a kicker, now 19 for 21. That's pretty good accuracy. I don't care if you're just kicking against air. And this guy also has range, has a career long of 52 last year against the University of Cincinnati, so he can do it. But you talked about it, Andy. Sudden change for Tennessee. The defense has to go out there now. They're in field goal range already. You don't want to give up more than that. They did their job. They just hope the offense won't put them in that situation much more today.
Auburn comes in here next week, and they'll come in off their first loss, defeated by Ole Miss in overtime. So that'll be, I'm sure, a very good Southeastern Conference game. Well, guys, what's happening right now? Tennessee's hanging around and letting Memphis stay in the football game. A team favored by 30 points, and they're leading by a score of 7-3 here early in the second quarter. And the longer you let a team like Memphis hang around, Andy, the more dangerous it becomes.
Well, and I hate to bring it up for Tennessee fans, but it sort of reminds me of '96, the game against Memphis, when Tennessee goes in heavily favored. You know, it is on the road, but Memphis hung around the whole game. Tennessee really didn't take control of it for whatever reason, and ended up losing the game. Hopefully Tennessee here could come out and establish something, either running or throwing, or possibly both, and take some control of the game offensively, which they haven't done to this point.
You saw the scoring drive.
Yeah, one other thing to add to that, Bob, you make a great point about letting teams hang around. Don't forget, this Memphis team looks at an onside kick, and they got it.
Oh, my. So Rip Shearer gambles.
You know, you talk about you let them hang around, but you also give them a chance to make plays like this. You know, when you're a 30-point underdog, you have nothing to lose. So you go out and you pull out all your trick plays, all your gadget plays, and what's the rule of thumb in coaching? Fire yours first.
Exactly.
You know, so that everyone's, you know, now everyone's on the alert for him, but Memphis got off first with a great job by Rip Shearer calling the onside kick.
Reginald Howard was the man who apparently wound up on top of the football. So Memphis in great shape, and University of Tennessee territory at the 44-yard line, trailing only 7-3. Super back at quarterback, hands off to Arnold. He's spinning for some daylight and still fighting, and gets very positive yardage, about 6 of them, before Mickey Allen out of the secondary has to make the stop for the Vols.
Well, you see where old momentum might have switched sidelines for this series. You know, now he's kind of picking it up from Memphis, and that's the first time we've seen, well, really maybe the second time all day, that Memphis has come off strong with the offensive line and knocked a hole in the Tennessee front for Gerard Arnold. And then he did a nice job running tough as he got inside, twisting and turning and getting positive yardage, as you mentioned, Bob.
All right, here's the handoff once again to Arnold, and this time off his left guard, and he's shy of a first down. They needed 3 and didn't quite make it, so he's about a yard shy. Albert Hainsworth has gone in defensively now for Tennessee. That's a true freshman in the lineup at defensive tackle.
Recent phenomenon in college football because of, you know, guys going out earlier to the pros. Guys are coming into the ballgame. There's Albert Hainsworth, number 92. That number's kind of familiar here at Tennessee. There's a guy who wore 92 here. Was a pretty good player. Had a nice career in the pros, Reggie White.
Yes, he did. All right, it's a big down. It's 3rd down and less than 2, and driving hard. Going to depend on the spot. It's going to be right on it. I believe he might have it. It's the fullback carrying the ball, and Mickey Allen made the stop of Bailey. It is enough. So Memphis comes out here and starts things in this quarter with an onside kick, recovers it, and immediately puts Tennessee on defense. And the Vols now, with their backs to the goal line, trying to battle a team that they were favored to beat by 30 points. Suber gives off once again in the middle. They're trying to pound the middle of Tennessee's defensive line and having a little bit of success with it right now after doing nothing in the first quarter. Ball is on the 30-yard line. Gerard Arnold, once again, the workhorse for Memphis.
We talked earlier about Tennessee on special teams. Can't really do anything on offense. Come up with a big play on special teams. Well, the same thing for Memphis. Memphis come out, hasn't until this series really hadn't got only one first down and hasn't moved the ball. They come out with a big play on special teams to put their offense back in good field position.
And the offensive line, as Bob mentioned, finally opening a few holes for their running backs.
Gerard Arnold has 11 yards now on 6 carries. Pass here in the flat and incomplete, thrown a little bit too high.
Let me bring up a quick point, because I did have the opportunity to see Memphis play earlier this year. They relish playing SEC teams because, you know, being in this state, that's what you hear all the time. They're in Conference USA, and that conference is looking for respect also. Quick pass by Suber out there. Al Sermon not able to hold on to the pass. And then after the play, Dwayne Goodrich made sure he knew he was there, and so did Deion Grant. We'll be there all day. But they look for any opportunity to knock off an SEC school, and have played Ole Miss and Mississippi State tough already.
Flags go down, and so does the Memphis player, but I think we had motion by Memphis. Billy Ratliff was in there blowing up everything, but it looked like we had a little movement here on the left side on a critical third down situation.
Offense, 5 yards, still third down.
So it pulls it back 5 yards and makes it a real interesting call right now for Memphis.
Does the phrase "can't stand prosperity" ring true here at all for Memphis? You know, they get down in good field position, have themselves on third and about 5 to go, and they go legal motion, and now they're 3rd and 10, have to do it again, 3rd and 12.
And possibly out of field goal range. Now, if they don't get the positive yards here, that may have taken them out of field goal range.
To make it a long one, it'd be a 52-yarder right now.
They spread the field, go into a shotgun, so they want to throw the football, and Tennessee's coming. They've got the yardage and a lot more. Catane has the first down on a real nice play. Deion Grant made the stop, but not until the big yardage had been reeled off by Memphis. So big play there, guys.
Yeah, I'm going back to where Memphis isn't especially intimidated by SEC teams because of who they played so far. Ole Miss, they lost 3-0. Mississippi State 13-10. This is the second time they've run that jailbreak screen, bringing him down inside. Ken Catane, 2 catches all of last year, guys. Comes into the ball game with 9 already for the season. Has really stepped up his play.
Ball is on the 17-yard line. It's first down and 10 to go for Memphis. They hand off in the middle and just play power football as Riley races right down the middle and picks up some yardage before Westmoreland, leading the attack, makes the stop for the Volunteers. Second down, he got at least 4 on that one, so second down and about 6 yards to go for a first. Memphis moving and threatening to take the lead against Tennessee. Volunteers defensively digging in. Memphis moves again. Looks like the left tackle might have jumped.
Price to the snap. False start. Offense. 5 yards. Still second down.
Well, Memphis is trying to help Tennessee out here, and the Vols are not responding. That's 2 motion penalties that have pushed them back here in this series.
And that's unfortunate for them. And in this case, you know, last week you heard a lot of talk about Tennessee and the crowd noise having a tough time. There was a lull in the crowd. There wasn't any crowd noise on that one at all. They just jumped. And again, that's something Memphis cannot afford to do.
High backfield. Rolling out is Suber. He's got his man down to the 5-yard line, and out of bounds goes Billy Kendall, the tight end, on a kind of a drag pattern across the middle, and Derek Edmonds made the stop defensively for Tennessee, but it'll be a first and goal situation for the Memphis Tigers.
A nice play, just a little boot out of there, right, Andy? And then you bring the tight end on a little delay to the outside. Billy Kendall's a former walk-on who's earned a scholarship in Memphis and is doing a great job blocking and catching. Nice job getting him a first down and first and goal at about the 6-yard line.
All right, first down and goal. Let's see what happens right here. The handoff is to the tailback, and he's got a couple of yards before he is dropped. That's Riley carrying the ball, and Dominic Stevenson from middle linebacker was the first man to beat him. The ball's about to fall behind to Memphis, and as Andy said a moment ago, kind of distressful to think about, but it does look a lot like the last time they met.
They're letting them hang around, and now Travis Angler, number 15, the backup quarterback's in, provides a lot more mobility. Might see some option here.
He does try to go down the line, but Tennessee was anticipating that, and they smothered him, led by Westmoreland, the linebacker.
That's one way to combat the option, just blow everything up in the backfield.
When you blow it up in the backfield, that you remember when Miami started to take over college football, when they started to use their speed, and Oklahoma was the power at the time. They started to blow up that dive play because they could run to it. They're in the middle. Darwin Walker, 58, doing a great job. And then you see Westmoreland over the top. Dominique Stevenson, Mickey Allen just diving on the pile, make sure he got on the screen. Excellent job.
Timeout right now has been called. We've got a little over 8 minutes, 8:45 to go before halftime. In a surprising game to a lot of people, I'm sure. Tennessee leading, yes, but by only 4. 7-3, Tennessee here in Knoxville. Well, Tennessee defensive staff now trying to talk to this team. That's Eric Westmoreland over on the sideline, one of the leaders of the defense, trying to dig in and at least prevent a touchdown and hold them to a field goal.
Another field goal sure would look nice to the Tennessee defense now because of the momentum Memphis has gained.
Tennessee ahead. Auburn comes in here next. Then Georgia, open date. Then to Alabama. First time in many, many years to play at Tuscaloosa. South Carolina's in here. Notre Dame on November the 6th. At Arkansas. That will be played at Fayetteville, at Lexington, and winding up the season here against Vanderbilt. So there's a lot of football ahead. A lot of opportunity for Tennessee to have a tremendous season and still accomplish many of the things they wanted to accomplish to begin the year, but the way they're playing right now is not the way to do it.
Sorry, Andy, go ahead.
Well, it's not, and they're not showing it right now, but there is, as we look at the schedule, there's a lot of football to be played and a lot for Tennessee, the coaches and players and fans to look forward to. As you remember, 2 years ago, Tennessee lost to Florida, still won the SEC championship, so that's possible. And if Tennessee takes care of business and win out, which is obviously, like I said, it's going to be tough. There's a lot of football left to be played. But if Tennessee wins out, they're going to be in a good position at the end of the year, possibly for the championship game, if not one of the best bowls that's out there.
Tennessee is not allowed a rushing touchdown this year. They will be tested perhaps right here. 3rd down and 5. And the quarterback in trouble. Intercepted in the end zone by Tennessee. Intercepted by Mickey Allen. Mickey Allen, guys, turning out to be the big play guy along with Deion Grant.
Doing a great job so far since he's come into the ball game. He had an interception against Florida that we saw at the top of the show. The first play of the ball game that was eliminated by a penalty, Mickey Allen made that stop on that first pass play. He's been involved in run support, comes up with a big interception. But let's just state the obvious here. The ball should not have been thrown.
It really shouldn't. And you look at, England in trouble in this situation, playing on the road, on the 5-yard line. You got to get rid of that ball, throw it away, and take a field goal attempt. I mean, that obviously you want a touchdown, but don't take chances with a ball like that. That like you said, Charles, that ball really shouldn't have been thrown. It should have been thrown in the stands.
Half of the interception should belong to Sean Ellis. This time he got the great pressure on. Jamal Lewis had nowhere to go that time. Defensively, Memphis all over him. Tony Brown, left defensive end.
Now, Travis Anglin is a freshman. This was a naked bootleg, and Sean Ellis did a good job staying at home and forcing the action. And then Anglin trying to force the ball in there to Wade Smith, the backup tight end. I saw them against Mississippi State on their last drive. He threw into double coverage on the last drive, prevented them from getting a last chance at a tying field goal. He's a freshman. He'll learn, but he needs to learn faster.
T. Martin in trouble. And dropped in his tracks by Casper Stiles. Almost shades of Alex Brown right there.
I think we brought a secondary blitz that time, and Memphis does. Tennessee either a back or the end didn't pick it up, or a receiver adjustment. You got to make a side adjustment on that. Nobody saw it, and that's what happens. Like we said earlier, when nobody gets blocked, those sacks are easy.
Yeah, as we said, you need to make that play when you're not blocked. And it looked to me, Andy, as if the pressure started up the middle, and Tennessee stepped inside to close down on the pressure with the line, opening up the angle for Stiles coming from the outside.
There's the quarterback situation. Tennessee needs a first down, or Memphis has got. They will be in great field position. I was about to say they will be in good field position. The pass intended for Eric Parker, way off target, and besides, had it been on target, Memphis had a defender standing right in his face.
Howard, the corner that time, number 4, read that. Tennessee was trying to set up the screen, the receiver screen that they had a lot of success against Florida with. Howard that time sniffed it out, and you're right, it's a good thing it was incomplete because it probably would have lost yards if Wilson had caught it.
Flag goes down on the play. There's David Leverton's kicking situation.
Breaking huddle with 12 men, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Tennessee breaks huddle with 12 men. It cost them 5 yards.
And they weren't trying to fool anyone. They got caught on a substitution. They weren't quite sure who should be in the ball game. So I can guarantee you that on the sideline, Coach Fulmer is asking the coaches, hey, who's supposed to be in the game, and make sure your guys know that. We don't need these kind of penalties. It goes right back to discipline, which leads you into tough situations such as the one they're in right now.
All right, Leverton standing in his end zone. Dotson will be fielding the punt. Another nice one by Leverton. Dotson dances up across the 40, looking for some running room, and it's not there. He goes down at the 45-yard line. Was there a fumble in there? Tennessee is signaling so. And it appears Tennessee does have the football.
Again, Bob, for the third time today, you know, neither offense can make much happen. Huge play in the special teams. That's the third time today that the special teams has come up for good or bad for Tennessee with a huge
Cedric
play.
Wilson was the man on the bottom of it. Punt was for 54 yards. Dotson fumbles, and Cedric Wilson comes up. So now, really the pressure is on Tennessee, so they have been handed the football in excellent field position to see what they can do with it.
Great job coming over the top there. Number 33, Derek Edmonds, looked like he made the strip when he batted the ball out, tackling Damian Dotson on the punt return. Gives Tennessee great field position.
This time Jamal Lewis back to the live action, rambles forward for 3 or 4 before he is knocked down. There's big number 31.
Tennessee comes out this series with 2 tight ends. They've tried several different formations, 1 tight end, 2 receivers, 3 receiver sets. They come out this time with 2 tight ends, trying to offset Memphis with all the different things they do. Just man up on them, zone block, and see what happens with this set. They're trying a little bit of everything because Memphis tries a little bit of everything on defense.
Jamal 5 carries for 16 yards. And this time he just simply runs into an over tackler before finally being brought down. Guys on that punt, I saw number 8 in there. Joey Matthews, the backup quarterback, was actually in on the punt coverage team there.
Well, they've used up his red shirt. And, you know, sometimes you want to try and get a guy some experience no matter what. And I'm sure Joey's gone to the coach and said, Coach, I want to play. You know, I want to help contribute to this ball club. And he's a big kid. You know, he's not little at all. And it doesn't hurt to have a quarterback back there because it gives you options if you want to fake things. You know, if you want to run some sort of a fake out of it, you got a run-pass guy back there.
3rd down, 2 yards to go for Tennessee on the Memphis 40-yard line. They put Cedric in motion. T rolls out, looks, and is going to throw it away. Everybody covered, so he just tossed it away. Cedric Wilson was in the neighborhood, but I do think that was a coverage situation.
It was. Tennessee came out with a rollout. They tried to flood the zone. Memphis did play a zone defense. Nobody came open. It looked like Parker came open for a second down the sideline, but the safety came over top, and there really was no place for T to throw it, and didn't look like much room to run, so a good decision by T to get rid of it and avoid the sack. There really was nobody open.
Tennessee blows a golden opportunity, and maybe you heard a little unrest in the crowd there. Leverton. Memphis has nobody back, really. Leverton is going to try to pooch it down there and keep it inside, and he will. They're going to let it roll around, finally die on about the 6-yard line. So it was a very effective kick as far as Leverton is concerned. But that offensive series, gentlemen, if you look at it from a Tennessee standpoint, was a very big disappointment.
It was. Tennessee had the big play on special teams, had it on the other side of the 50, on Memphis side of the 50, in great field position, and couldn't do anything with it. And it's, you know, like I said, I think Tennessee, the offensively, are still trying to fill Memphis out. They're trying a lot of different formations, and just to try to see what's going to work. And so far, Memphis has responded, and nothing's worked really so far.
Well, the punt is 33 yards. That'll hurt his average a bit, but really it was the most effective punt he's had.
He's having a big day today, and it's not good when your punter has a really big first half.
Memphis in a little bit of a hole. They'll try to come out of there. Suber going to fire long, and it's complete. A beautiful, beautiful play. Damian Dotson at the 49-yard line. Actually, he was pretty well covered.
He was well covered, but that was a play that Rip Shearer told his quarterback, go back in the pocket and throw it out there. We're going to try and stretch them no matter what. We're going to take a chance throwing out of our own end zone. He got pretty decent blocking there, and then he just let it fly and gave his receiver a chance. And once his receiver got inside Dwayne Goodrich, he was able to use his body.
Given a sideline warning. Warning, sideline, Memphis.
They're excited on that play, so I'm sure that Memphis' bench just came up and on the field to try and congratulate Damian Dotson. But once he got inside him, you know, I'm talking about Damian Dotson, number 9, getting inside number 23, Dwayne Goodrich, used his body to shield him off and make the catch downfield. A good throw and a good catch.
It made for a perfect throw.
It did. It made it perfect.
All right, the handoff is to the tailback, and he got some positive yardage across midfield into Tennessee territory. To the 47-yard line goes Gerard Arnold. Dominic led the way along with Raynoch Thompson, also in defensively for Tennessee.
Speaking of using the body, that is so important for a receiver to be able to do that, because that makes the quarterback's job easier. He doesn't have to make a perfect throw every time. And I know from my playing days, there was nobody better than Carl Pickens.
Yes. And he's still doing it on Sundays in the NFL.
Getting paid a lot of money for it.
But that long pass accomplished two things, guys. One, it doesn't allow Tennessee to just load up against the run. And two, it turned field position around.
All right, Super back on a delay to his tailback, Arnold, and he's got a little bit of running room. Tennessee closes down pretty nicely, though, defensively that time. Deion Grant, being the All-American, would not be fooled on that one and just rode it out to the sidelines and rode him down.
Andy, I'm going to jump in for a second here. When I watch number 7 play, Deion Grant, you see on your screen right there, makes me so glad that my eligibility was over before he got here. Otherwise, I might have been looking for another position or maybe a transfer from school. He's an excellent football player, and you mentioned it, Bob. If he wants to go out to the NFL, I don't know how they have him ranked, but he can't be ranked very low. He's a great football player.
Charles, there's been a couple of quarterbacks that I would have been scared since I played also.
All right, Super back to throw. Throws it and broken up by Tennessee. Almost intercepted that time by D'Angelo Lloyd. Ooh, a great athletic move by D'Angelo.
That ball almost looked like it was a lateral. It was very close.
And if it was a lateral, it's not an incomplete pass when they knock it down. Good push up front. Neil Suber trying to throw it. I think, personally, they don't like to call that very often, but looks like a lateral. On that one, if he's able to knock it down, pick it up, he should still be running with it, because on a lateral, it's not a forward pass. You can advance a lateral.
If that pass was forward,
it didn't look it from here.
It didn't look like it.
All right, it's punt formation time. Candy back for Memphis and Parker for Tennessee. Parker has accounted for Tennessee's only touchdown in this one. 69-yard return. He will not fool with this one. Let it go into the end zone. Tennessee will bring it out to the 20-yard line. Guys, can you look at the Tennessee bench, Tennessee team, and do they look a little bit lethargic to you, or is it just that Memphis is playing pretty well right now?
Well, I don't know the mood of the team right now, but offensively, just from looking at what Tennessee's trying to do, like I said earlier, they're trying to fill Memphis. They don't have a bead really on what Memphis is doing defensively. I know they know what they're doing and they know what they've done in the past, but it's two different things to know what they're doing and then get on the field and actually execute against it and make things happen. Tennessee's still trying to fill them out to try to find something that'll work.
And all that jumping around that defense does makes you tentative offensively, because you're not sure where someone will appear in your picture to actually block. So that makes it tough for you to find someone to hit.
All right, T gives it off to the bread and butter guy, Jamal Lewis, and he gets 5 to the 25 before he is dropped by the Tigers. Leading the way is Irby out of the secondary, Bashir out of the secondary.
That type of defense can cause problems, and obviously it's done for Tennessee so far. It has caused problems, but when you play that style, it also sometimes you give up some big plays. They haven't done it yet, but that style of defense, you're opening yourself up either for a huge play for the defense, or you're going to give the offense sometimes a big play.
And when I talked with Randy Sanders, the offensive coordinator, the other day, and what he told me was, Charles, when we have a chance to make a big play against this jumping around defense, we need to make it, because if we only make 3 yards on a play, that doesn't scare them. You have to scare them off by making big plays when they jump around. And as they said, they're going to win some. We're going to win some. We just need to make sure we win ours in the early part of down and distance, 1st and 10, so that you can set them back on their heels. When it's 2nd and long, 3rd and long, that's when they really have a chance to pin their ears back and come after you.
And that's when they feel free to jump around and play unorthodox styles of defense. That's when they're in good down and distance for the defense. That's when they can do different things to really try to confuse you.
And this is a tough injury here, Bob and Andy. Idris Bashir, their starting strong safety. He's a big play guy for them, and he's, it looks like somebody comes down on him. Apparently we're going to see that, but they need to hurry up and try and get him back in. He'd be a big loss.
There you see it. Several people fell in there.
Right in the middle of that pile, Bashir went down, and then a couple other guys trying to block fell on top of that ankle, so we hope that he's going to be okay.
Jamal Lewis has 7 carries, 24 yards. Not much doing here. Nothing, as a matter of fact. Tennessee offensively really sputtering right now. Irby, a middle linebacker reserve, made the stop for the Memphis State Tigers. We've got 2 minutes and 39 seconds to go here in the first half of play, and Tennessee's leading 7-3. Vols trying to get something going offensively. T throws it up in the air. It is batted, maybe by a linebacker, up in the air, deflected and incomplete.
We talk about the different formations that Memphis can do on defense. When the ball was snapped that time, Memphis only had one down lineman, had the nose guard down, and then at the snap of the ball, 3 guys came from different positions, and it's really tough on an offense really to know where those guys are coming from.
Yeah, there goes Bashir to the locker room to get some more medical attention. But Andy, you remember in the day when you were playing, and as you still are with Nashville in the Arena Football League, when you see guys out of position, they're not necessarily out of position. They may be running to get in position,
exactly.
And that's what Memphis does. They run to their spots. That makes it hard for the Tennessee offensive line and backs to pick them up.
Without a doubt.
All right, Leverton gets his kick away. Dotson is going to signal for a fair catch up around the 36-yard line. At that point, Memphis will put it in play with still time. Over 2 minutes to go in the first half of play here. The crowd has grown somewhat restless. That was a 40-yard punt.
Somewhat restless would be a nice way of putting it. This crowd is not happy.
So, I mean, almost a nasty mood.
Yes, it's homecoming, coming off of a tough loss to Florida, where people don't like to see that very often. It's Memphis, so you have the revenge factor from 1996. People came here to celebrate. They didn't come here to see us struggle. And they have to understand that this Memphis team presents problems more than people think. When you lose to Ole Miss by 3 and Mississippi State by 3, you can hang in there.
Super is 5 of 9 for 94 yards now. He fires out in the flat, led his man a little too far, and Goodrich pretty well covered Dotson on that one anyway. So
Andy,
just sort of a harmless play that time.
Sorry about that, Bob. Andy, have you ever met a homecoming crowd that wasn't ready to party? I mean, you know, that's part of the difficulty right here. They're in a festive mood, and this is the type of football we're seeing now doesn't lend itself to that continuing. They want to see them jump out there.
Well, it is, and the fans are a little frustrated with the Tennessee. But you got to remember, Memphis has a lot to do with what's happening on the field right now. They're playing good football.
There's a solid stick that time from the Tennessee defense. Memphis tailback with nowhere to go that time. Tennessee rose up to the occasion. That was Sugar Sanders carrying the football, and Billy Ratliff, one of the first men to hit him that time. Ratliff having a very good year. Tennessee apparently has called a timeout here, stopping the clock at 2:03 to go in the first half, with Tennessee leading in this ball game by a surprisingly close margin. It's 7-3.
And Phil Fulmer contemplating now, what are we going to do? Right now, I think he's just thinking about getting in the locker room and regrouping his team a little bit right now. The tough thing for people to realize is that although it's been ugly, it's still 7-3 and they're leading. So that's not a bad thing. I mean, no matter what, you want to come out of it with a win. We just saw, you just called him Sugar Sanders, the third tailback we've seen from Memphis. 94 yards last week against Arkansas State. The negative, he'd fumbled twice going in. Otherwise, Memphis probably would have won that game a lot easier than they did.
Guys, I tell you what, you cannot take anything for granted. We're seeing it more and more this year, I think, in college football teams. Penn State goes in, plays Pittsburgh, favored by 34, wins by 3. Last week, the Cincinnati Bearcats knock off Wisconsin.
North Texas beat Texas Tech. New
There
Mexico
you go.
State beat Arizona State. It goes on and on.
On and on. Third down conversion situation. Here's a... Oh, it is intercepted. He did hold on to it. Incredible interception by Dwayne Goodrich. Oh, boy. We'll want to see the replay on this one. This is acrobatic. One hand to start with.
I'll tell you what, Andy and I are pointing each other up in the booth who gets to take this replay.
What
and he pointed to me because because I'm a former defensive back. And I sure, you know, if I made plays like that, Andy, you know, what a great coverage by Dwayne Goodrich. It looked like he was beat on the play. If the ball was out there a little bit farther, I think that he was. Ball's underthrown a little bit, and Dwayne Goodrich with one hand stretches out and stays with it the whole way. It bobbles it 3 or 4 times. An excellent interception. I believe that's his second of the year.
That should fire up the offense a little bit. Let's see if it does. T. Martin back to throw. Nope. Down he goes. A big loss.
Again, a huge sack in a 2-minute drill situation. You know, that's a huge sack for Memphis and a big blow for Tennessee. Still time on the clock, though. Tennessee still has timeouts remaining, but you don't want to start out a 2-minute drill with the sack.
No, you don't want to get set back there. And also you're looking at, too, not just your timeouts, but don't forget first down, stop the clock, too.
This time he throws. It's complete to Cedric Wilson. Wilson looking for the sidelines, can't get there, so the clock continues to run. Tennessee now looking at the clock, showing a minute 17 and ticking. They do not go into a huddle. No huddle offense. T. Martin shouting out his plays.
Big play here, third down. You got to get the first down here because the time really with 2 timeouts is not a huge factor yet, but this is a big play.
All right, T fires. Don't know who made the mistake there, but it was either the receiver or T. Martin. Eric Parker was heading downfield, and T threw it way behind him and out of bounds.
Up here, obviously a miscommunication there. Was one-on-one coverage out there. Obviously, T. Martin thought it was going to be a comeback or an out route. The receiver didn't think that.
And now, who would you bet on in that situation, Andy, as probably being correct?
I'd have to stick with T.
Oh, yeah, what do you think, Bob? Was that a surprise? Go with the quarterback.
I'll go with the receiver being right on that, just to make it even here. Here's Leverton's punt. It's high, it's deep, fair catch is called for, and with 51 seconds to go, Memphis will put it in play inside their own 10-yard line. But at least they kept the balls off of the scoreboard there. That was a golden opportunity again for Tennessee to make something happen, and they made nothing happen.
Now Memphis has the ball with 50 seconds to go. The ball is on the 9-yard line, their own 9. In normal situations, you know, you might take a knee or two and go into the locker room happy you're down 7-3. But Rip Shear's tired of being close in these wins. Don't be surprised. The first down play will dictate what they do the rest of this drive. If they get positive yardage on this, they might go hurry up and try and use their timeouts and get something else.
50 ticks to go. He does give it off to his tailback, and he is dropped. And so the clock will continue to run with 43 seconds to go. He got maybe a yard, and that's about all. Mickey Allen out of the secondary from safety made the stop. Number 29 in your screen right there was the primary tackler for Tennessee. Ball's leading. Oh, but it has been a real disappointment to the homecoming crowd here in Knoxville. As Charles said, they came here to party in addition to seeing a big blowout.
A little surprised that Tennessee's not using their timeouts and to try to force Memphis into a third down and hopefully get enough time to try to block a punt. But
I think what we saw, Andy, is that both coaches want to get off the field. Memphis happy to only be down 7-3. Tennessee unhappy being only up 7-3. Both want to go in and regroup and come out for the second half.
Well, there you hear some of the rumbling in the crowd. It is not a real happy bunch right now, as Memphis stood toe-to-toe with the Volunteers in the first half and leave the field trailing 7-3.
Getting ready to play Florida. It's almost the Florida hangover right now. This team didn't come out with a lot of emotion. I don't care how talented you are. As you know, Andy, if you don't play this game of football with emotion, you don't play well.
You're exactly right. It is an emotional game, and you have to play with emotion.
All right. Catane is coming out of there and in pretty good field position as he takes Leverton's kickoff out across the 30 to about the 32-yard line, where Memphis will put it in play, and the Big Orange will go on defense. Defensively, as the guys said, they've been doing their part. They've held Memphis to a total of 1 field goal, 3 points here in the first half, but the offense has been completely, totally out of sync.
Charles brought up a good point off the air. The first 5 minutes of the second half is very crucial for both teams, really. Tennessee last week, Florida came out the first 5 minutes, took it right down the field and scored a touchdown. This week is very important, not only for Tennessee, but also for Memphis. Which teams are going to come out the second half and respond early in the third quarter?
For some reason, the official stepped in and stopped play. There you see Suber's numbers, and he has alternated with Anglin at quarterback. Anglin a little smaller and more athletic. Suber, though, is a very tough guy. Tennessee strings this one out nicely, and nowhere to go for the tailback. Dominic Stevenson and Eric Westmoreland, linebackers, made the stop.
Looks like a repeat of the first half, getting started defensively. You mentioned the 3 points Memphis scored, Bob. Don't forget, that came off of a Tennessee turnover. It was a sudden change, and they didn't have very far to go and still only kicked a field goal. I think Terrence made an excellent point, finding out what Coach Fulmer said at the half. Guys, we're not playing Tennessee football. I really think he's talking about the emotional side of it. You know, we know we're better than them man-to-man. Now we have to go out and just prove it.
All right, Tennessee digs in defensively. Suber is going to try to throw, got some pressure. There's a flag down. The pass is complete for about a 6-yard gain, but remember, a flag is down back here in the Memphis backfield.
Almost looked like the jailbreak screen on that play, but I don't think that's what they were trying to do.
No, Tennessee just came free, and so I think someone got held or tackled back there.
Memphis seems to be retreating a bit, expecting it. Let's see what the official has to say. R.G. Detellier from Louisiana is the referee in this ball game.
Holding, offense, 10 yards, spot of the foul. Correction.
I think you're right, Charles. They got one of the tackles and held him up that time.
Repeat, second down.
And one thing to remember, too, if Memphis is worried about the penalty situation, a lot of times you hear about the homer. Look down on the bottom, you see in the middle there, 75, and then 71, David Sherrod gets one right there, and that's where the flag came rolling in. Got a little handful of jersey. But this is a Conference USA officiating crew, so Memphis brought their own guys with them.
It's second down and 21 to go. Second and 21. Big opportunity for the Tennessee defense to turn it loose right here. Suber, though, has time. He's throwing. A flag is down. And we may be going to see offensive interference here. Or is it defense, you think, guys?
I think it's going to be defensive. I think when the ball was launched in the air was when the bump occurred. You can bump him all over the field in college until the ball's in the air. Once the ball's in the air, you have to let him go. I think that's what they're going to call him, Dwayne Goodrich.
Dwayne's sort of pleading his case, so I guess you're right there. There he is. All-American cornerback for Tennessee. Kind of got turned around on that one.
I think Memphis took a page out of Florida's playbook with the hitch and go or stop and go, which Florida had some success with last week, hoping the defensive corners will jump the quick route and beat them deep. And Goodrich, probably was beat and hit him to keep from getting beat deep on a pass play.
And with the perspective we have from up here is also the same perspective the Memphis offensive staff has. And remember the interception that Goodrich made, he really was beat on the play if the ball was thrown farther.
No flag on the play.
So now I think that it's one of two things. One, the official threw the flag and decided it really wasn't interference. I just threw it too early. Or two, Andy's motioning in the booth here, uncatchable ball. So,
or perhaps it was within the 5 yards when the bump happened.
But in the zone, in college, you can bump him downfield till that ball's in the air.
Right.
So you can get past the 5 yards. It was a questionable call to begin with because it was a tough play. I just thought that's what he was going to call.
You guys are passing up another option. Maybe Dwayne was very
persuaded.
I want him pleading my case when I have to go see the magistrate sometime. All right, I'm hiring Dwayne Goodrich.
All right, now it's third down and 21. Definitely a passing situation, so they run the football. Arnold carries it across the 35, trying to catch the defense napping with a little trap. And Will Overstreet made the stop defensively, and so it'll force Memphis into a punting situation, and we'll see what Tennessee can do offensively in the second half. 2 first downs under 50 yards offense in the first half for Tennessee. That is, we're thinking, probably at least a modern-day record. Candy will be back to punt. Parker will be in deep receiving position for Tennessee. There's the snap, and the kick is away, and it's a pretty nice one. Parker drifting back, and he's going to catch the football. Fair catch. Pretty good decision on his part. Remember, Leonard Scott is not playing, along with Keon Whiteside, Reggie Ridley, and a defensive tackle from Knoxville named Ryan Rowe. The university received information which, if true, could affect the eligibility of these 4 players. So in the interest of exercising caution, the university is withholding them from competition until a complete review of the situation has been completed. 47 yards on that punt for Candy. All right, T. Martin pitches back. They're going to try to sweep. And the big guy is knocked down after not much going there. Jamal Lewis not getting great blocking and not running perhaps as he has in the past on some occasions. Right cornerback Michael Stone was there defensively for Memphis.
Tennessee comes out on first down again with a 2 tight end set, 1 receiver. We see Wilson coming back in the game. We come back with a 1 tight end set. The sweep is a play that had some success against Florida. Obviously the Tennessee fans remember the 4th down when it didn't work. But Tennessee again is just trying to fill Memphis out with 2 tight ends, trying to get more guys in there to block the guys that they have up front.
It's a 2nd and 8 situation, a throwback, and Memphis plays it very, very well.
Great play on the corner by Michael Stone, the boundary corner. It was kind of a reverse screen. T. Martin sprinted out to the wide side, turned and threw back into the short side. Looked like it had a chance to break. If Michael Stone doesn't get in between the blockers and make that tackle, Cedric Wilson has some territory to run, Andy.
Possibly a touchdown because nobody else was back there. Tennessee had 2 linemen out in front, and Stone, and like you said, made the play. Probably saved a touchdown, or a big play at least.
He and the other corner there, Howard, they've done a great job as advertised coming into this ball game.
It's 3rd down and 3. Big down for the Tennessee offense, and incomplete. Threw it a little high for Cedric Wilson and couldn't bring it down. It would have been enough for a first down, but once again, the Tennessee offense, which has sputtered the entire football game, sputters here in the second half, 3rd quarter, and so they'll have to turn it over once again to the Memphis offense.
Again, pressure comes right up the middle. T didn't have a lot of time to sit in and throw. Takes another shot. You know, you look at right up the middle. Possibly Spencer Riley. His hand could play a factor in his pass blocking.
David Leverton is back to punt. Gets it off, and it's kind of a low one that's could have been returnable, and is caught, and they're ruling it a fair catch, I guess, right there. No attempt by Dotson to return the football. I didn't see the hand go up, but the official blows it dead right there.
And interesting, Bob, the last 2 punt returns, Eric Parker's hand didn't get up very high in the air either on that one. It's kind of a late signal. They always tell you in preseason, make sure that arm gets up there and wave it. Otherwise, we may not call it. We don't want that to happen, but the officials are really protecting the punt returners because that one didn't look like a very good signal either.
To be honest with you, I didn't even see Parker's last one.
You know, he just kind of flipped it up at the tail end, and usually they tell you better get it up in the air so everybody knows it.
Well, there's 2 reasons for that. One, you want the official to see it, and if you're the return guy, obviously you want the defenders to see it because you don't get smacked in the mouth when you're expecting to be protected.
There's no, you got the 2-yard rule about catching the ball, but if you're catching it at full speed, and the guy's coming at full speed, he can run from that 2 yards and really smack you. So my advice to punt returners, I'm with you, Andy. Make sure they know you're calling the fair catch. Saves a lot of wear and tear on the head.
Not too many smiles in the crowd right now. A lot of kind of concerned look on the faces of the Vol faithful. Well, there's one smile. That last punt, by the way, was for 50 yards. Both kickers have kicked very well here today. Some of the homecoming crowd of over 100,000 at Neyland Stadium watching Memphis and Tennessee meet. The record is 15-1. And of course, that one Memphis victory was a humdinger a couple of years ago. Just sort of destroyed Tennessee's season in that it was an expensive loss. It kept Tennessee out of the coalition, which would have been a major bowl and a couple of $1 million more than they did receive. So
yeah, I think it was it a $6 million difference between going to the
count up everybody's cut. Bowl. That's right.
And the other teams in the league will talk about that too, because everyone in the conference gets a cut. So I'm sure Vanderbilt called and said, "Hey, help us out too."
What's wrong?
That's the only good thing about it. It hurt Vanderbilt just a little bit.
Here's a pass incomplete off the hands of Dotson, the intended receiver. There's Dwayne Goodrich in the neighborhood trying to get the deflection, but couldn't pull it in. Again, Tennessee defensively is doing a pretty good job. In fact, they've kept Memphis out of the end zone. They've got 3 points, but offensively it has just been a complete dud for the Vols here in the first half and here early in the 3rd quarter of play. We've still got 11:32 to go. Still time to get it in sync, but right now there's Rip Shear of Memphis looking on and seeing if his Tigers can do anything on 2nd down and 10. Handoff is to the tailback, and there's not much going there. Tennessee swarms all over Arnold and drops him at maybe a gain of a yard or so. Leading the way was Mickey Allen out of the secondary. On 3rd downs now, Memphis is 2 of 10 in this ball game. So that is a reflection on what Charles talked about earlier, their rather inept offense.
Gerard Arnold limping off the field, their starting tailback. He had a bad ankle coming into this game. Didn't play last week because of it. Gave it a go so far today. He might have tweaked it a little bit. And number 29, Mickey Allen, he's been awfully active today, Bob. You called his name in a lot of different situations. Done a great job stepping up to start today.
Tennessee wearing all orange for the first time since we think 88. They might rethink that. Here is Suber going to be driven to the ground, or at least whistle blown as Darwin Walker was ready to slam him when the official blew it dead. That's the strength of Darwin Walker right there. That's just bull rushing on that particular play.
Great job on this play. Darwin Walker coming up middle. He beats number 65, Artis Hicks, who started at guard last year for Memphis. He's moved to tackle to try and give them more flexibility. Andy, in this situation, offense isn't playing very well. Do you as a special teams coach have an inkling of maybe going after it to force another big play?
Well, that's something I'm sure the coaches have talked about. I don't think you can go wrong there, but you are taking the possibility of getting a penalty because you're probably going to get good field position.
All right, a whistle blows everything dead. Memphis set with Candy to punt. Let's listen.
Prior to the snap. False start. Offense. 5 yards.
So
Hill, 4th down.
Perhaps the fact that Tennessee's had some success, punt return, one for a touchdown obviously earlier, that may play into it too. Maybe look for the same type of thing. Hope maybe the coaches are thinking, well, we've had success returning the football. Let's set up the return again. Let's see what happens in special teams play again.
Memphis has been penalized 11 times, guys, for 62 yards.
So some of that lack of discipline migrated west, and Memphis picked it up and brought it back with them.
Maybe, hopefully they'll keep it.
Tennessee should be in great field position here if Eric Parker can field this punt from Candy. And it's a pretty nice one. He takes it and is going to try to return it. Not much room to go. Still reversing. Now he cuts downfield. Nice move by Eric Parker to get something out of what looked like nothing. And he got it into pretty good field position at about the 37-yard line where Tennessee will put it in play, 1st down and 10.
Looked like he was flirting with the disaster for a second. At the last minute, made a nice cut up field to get some positive yards, but he was definitely in a little bit of trouble when he was reversing back and forth.
Yeah, that's, it's his 4th punt return, averaging almost 11 yards a return with a long of 23 coming into this ball game. Obviously, that's jumped up with the big return. But, when you dance around that much, you talk about flirting with disaster, it usually leads to a clip.
Exactly right.
All right, here's T. Martin out of the shotgun, throwing out in the flat to Cedric Wilson. It's complete and out of bounds after gaining about 5. Guys, we're still seeing only 2 receivers for Tennessee in this ball game. We're only seeing Eric Parker and Cedric Wilson, and primarily Cedric Wilson. And Andy, as a quarterback, that's got to be spread out a little more.
Well, it has to. And Tennessee came out with a 4-receiver set, but like you said, there's only a couple of guys getting catches, and Wilson obviously is the main guy. I know T and the coaches want to spread it around some more, but as a quarterback and in a situation like this, you're going to go to the guy you're more comfortable with, who you know is going to be at the right place at the right time.
And there you have it. Complete again and knocked out of bounds with it this time is a different receiver, Bobby Graham. So they do find another man in the package.
Well, I think, again, I kind of hate to keep repeating it. Tennessee's just searching right now. They came out 2 tight ends the last series. This series come out with 4 wide receivers, 1 running back, try to throw it, spread it out a little bit, and move the ball that way. So far, they've had a little success so far, setting up a 3rd and 1.
Okay, 3rd down and 1. What do you do right here? You give the ball to Jamal, and he dives, and it's going to be very close, I can tell you that. If he didn't make it, guys, I would think we're in 4-down territory, though, aren't we?
I would think so, especially with a new kicker. It would be a long one at that. Even now would be 40-plus yards. I think we're in a situation now where Tennessee does, and it's like Coach Former told the team at halftime, we're not playing Tennessee football. Let's go out and make something happen, and this is a perfect opportunity. If this is a 4th down, which it may be a 1st, I would be really surprised if Tennessee doesn't go for it.
They almost have to in this situation because they have to make a statement. The only way you're going to get the emotion of this team lifted up is to have good things happen for them offensively. You go ahead and pound at them. Looks a little short.
It's short by a couple of inches.
Yeah, I say you go for it here. Andy, I'm with you. You go two tights, you go power set, and you tell your guys, if we don't get this 1st down on this one, you'll have to answer to me. And Coach Fulmer is a former offensive line coach as well as offensive coordinator. I am quite sure. I'd love to know the volume he talked to the guys with at halftime. There's a kicker, Walls on the sideline, and that's where he should be in this situation. They need breathing room, because you're still just 1 play away from disaster with Memphis right now, either being behind or if you kick a field goal, a touchdown ties it up.
220-pound quarterback or more, I'd run a sneak right here.
Normally you would.
They don't.
They don't want him getting hit anymore. Bad shoulder and all.
I'm sure coming into the game, that was part of the coach's thinking. Let's try to not get T hit too much, and even in the best of situations, if you get a lead in a game like this, obviously they probably would have taken T out pretty early. Obviously, the way things have gone today, more than likely he's going to be there till the end. But again, another safe play. Obviously, a sneak would be great, but I'm sure that was a thinking process there, not to get T another shot on the shoulder.
All right, they pitch it back to Jamal. Jamal's looking for some running room. He's got a little bit down across the 20, maybe right on the 20-yard line is where they'll spot it. Calvin Lewis, left defensive tackle, trailing on the play, made the stop for Memphis. We've got 7:19 remaining in the third quarter. We've got Tennessee up 7-3 in a game that's probably rather stunning to other people around the country right now.
Another reason Tennessee's probably running some sweeps today, you've seen a couple of sweeps, is it's easier for the lineman to know who to block. It's basically zone block usually on sweeps unless you're pulling people, which you don't do a lot. This is zone blocking, which means the offensive linemen are firing out to an area, and you basically pick up who's in your area, so it doesn't really matter what the defense does. It makes it a little easier for the lineman.
Jamal's got 12 carries, 36 yards. T. Martin's got a man open. No. Led him a little too far, Cedric Wilson.
A little late with that. Cedric came open. They tried to stretch the field with two guys going vertical, read the safety, and T was just a little late because Wilson did come open. If he'd got that ball on time, it probably would have been a better throw. He was a little late with it, and he saw the safety out of T. I'm sure saw the safety coming out of the corner of his eyes late, and which forced him to change the trajectory a little bit. But if he'd have seen that earlier, Wilson was open for a split second.
All right, Tennessee now looking at a 3rd down and 5. 3rd and 5. T. Martin goes into the shotgun, trying to keep this drive alive. Got time, throws. Incomplete. They ruled that he let it hit the ground. He was there. The pass was there. Cedric just couldn't quite bring it in. And so that brings on the field goal unit.
Again, as we talked earlier in the game, the receiver using his body to make it a perfect throw. This time Cedric may have used it a little too much, trying to keep the receiver on his hip. Should have sprinted a little more to the ball. Still got his hand on it, had a shot at it. Wasn't a bad throw, wasn't a perfect throw, but just a missed opportunity again for the Tennessee offense.
Ball will be put down on the 27, making it a 37-yard effort here for Alex Walls. He needs it. He got it.
Big kick.
37-yard kick for Alex Walls. So he's 1 out of 2 now, and maybe that's the shot he needed. Certainly he had missed that one. He could have been in big trouble mentally for the rest of this game and the season.
He needed it and the team needed it. But you agree, Andy? I mean, the team needs to know that a kicker is going to come through for them when they get them down in those situations. You're not going to score touchdowns every time. So when the opportunity presents itself, the kicker needs to be able to make them, preferably from 50 yards in. Preferably you want to have a 50-yard leg, but no less than a 45-yard leg. And it looks like Alex Walls has that type of capability.
And it's not more important than on a day like today. Obviously, when your offense is struggling and you're not getting touchdowns, you have to be able to rely on your kicking game.
Now, Bob, I want to go back to a point you made at the top of the show. You don't want to let teams who you are better than hang around. And it's still only 10-3, so you're just one play away from having a tie ball game, and then the pressure goes back to who? Goes back to the favorite, for example, the Ryder Cup in golf. We keep talking about the Americans being the superior team, getting their clocks cleaned by the Europeans right now. When people just go out and play, Memphis' advantage, they've already played 2 SEC teams. So they're not totally intimidated coming in here, and if you don't jump on them early and you let them hang around, their confidence continues to build.
Good point. Tennessee will kick off now. Memphis, though, knowing they're still very much in this football game. 10-3 in favor of the Volunteers. We've still got 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the third quarter. Leverton is kicking off. His first one went in the end zone. This one's at about the 3-yard line. And Memphis dancing around, trying to find some room and going in the wrong direction. Dotson is dropped back at about the 10-yard line by Derek Edmonds, who's one guy who's really played extremely well on special teams all year for the Vols.
That caused the fumble earlier on the punt situation. That makes the tackle there on the kickoff.
There's your scoring drive for Tennessee, capped with a 37-yard field goal by Alex Walls. 8 plays. All is actually spotted here on closer to the 13-yard line. So all of that motion going backwards, they gave him a little bit of a break right there. That's the man who did the returning, Darian Dotson. This is the second time in this ball game that he has hobbled off, so don't know if it's a knee or an ankle.
And this one looks a little worse than the last time. The last time it looked like he might have gotten some grass or something in his eyes, because remember, he's going over and clearing his face mask, clearing things out of his face. This time he's not putting a lot of pressure on one of his legs. It looks like number 10, Casey Rooney, a freshman from Iowa, is going to come into the ball game and take over Damian Dotson's spot.
All right, the situation is first down and 10. The ball on their own 13-yard line for the Memphis Tigers. Over 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Tennessee leading by a score of 10-3, but favored by 30. Super pitches. They try to come wide to the left. They've got running room. Out of bounds right at the marker. Right on the marker, as a matter of fact, is Gerard Arnold, driven out by Dominic Stevenson, the middle linebacker. Tennessee not able to turn it in, guys.
No, he was able to get to the corner without a great amount of blocking. He doesn't look like he's especially fast. I'm talking about Gerard Arnold. He's built more like a stump, low to the ground, kind of similar to Emmitt Smith. Remember, they always talk about Emmitt Smith didn't have a lot of great speed, but somehow he managed to get a good number of yards when he carried. This time, Arnold fooled him getting to the outside, used his speed, got to the corner, and picked up a first down.
And moved the chains. Arnold this time tries the other side. Not much going. Tennessee pretty well played that one correctly all the way. Sean Ellis, big number 93 at the bottom of the pile. Memphis has got another player up hobbling off of the field. Number 34, that's the fullback, Rashad Bailey. And doesn't look serious, but enough to take himself out of the lineup for right now.
Fortunately, that's a position Memphis is fairly deep. Brandon Tucker, number 46, will come in for him. And they have two guys behind him who can also line up and play fullback. So they're not too concerned about, although they would like to have their starter in the game.
They try to pitch. Again, Tennessee plays this one perfectly this time. Will Overstreet, who's got great speed, and he shows it right there. Unlike the last time when they were able to turn the corner, Overstreet got in the lane and would not permit it this time.
He really did a great job stuffing him at the line of scrimmage. He stuffed the guy who was blocking him, and he played with what they call outside leverage. Remember that, Andy? Keep your outside shoulder free. You'll see number 90 on the replay stringing the play out and then getting to the ball carrier. I believe that was a replay from a couple plays before. Mickey Allen making a tackle on Gerard Arnold going inside. The last one was the toss sweep, and a nice play by Will Overstreet.
Tennessee jumping around a little bit on defense. They're in the shotgun, firing at a man wide open. Down to the 40, the 30, the 20. Touchdown, Memphis. We have got a flag down, though. Ken Catane has gone all the way, but there's a flag back at the 12-yard line.
Foul, roughing the quarterback, defense, touchdown. Good.
There you saw it, roughing the passer, so naturally the touchdown counts. What a stunning play that was.
Tennessee, again, it appeared they in a blitz situation, one-on-one coverage, and when you blitz, it's a gamble like we talked about Memphis earlier, their style of defense, and a lot of people love to see teams blitz and see the Tennessee blitz a lot, but when you do that, you're going to get a great play sometimes, and then sometimes you're going to give up a huge one, give up touchdowns.
Give up a touchdown. It leads you to, in this case, it was man-to-man coverage, and it wasn't cover one. Remember that, Andy? Man free. This was cover zero. Everyone was matched up man on man, and he got the big play, got it into a seam.
Roughing the quarterback, defense. That penalty will be enforced half the distance to the goal. One untimed down for the PAT.
Well, they're going to enforce the penalty half the distance to the goal. Does that change the strategy of Memphis here?
Not at this stage, I don't think, Bob. I mean, there's still 4:41 in the third quarter, and Memphis is playing pretty well. This isn't one where there's a desperation. You might, if you're Tennessee, you play for the fake, though. You have to play for the fake on defense, almost concede the kick, and be happy that you're tied. You don't want to give them the two-point conversion. And also look up and be down one.
But don't be shocked if they do something, because they, like we said earlier, they come in here with nothing to lose, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. But they do. I'm sure they have a lot of confidence in their defense. Now they probably will kick it, though.
That play covered 82 yards for the touchdown. Here's the snap. They do kick it, and it's up there, and it is good. And we've got ourselves a tie ball game. 10-10. Guys, Ken Catane has 3 catches for 116 yards. He's got more offense than the entire Tennessee team.
And last year, I'll go back to a point I made earlier. For the whole season, Ken Catane had 2 catches. So this guy is not one that, you look at in preseason and think you're going to step up. Super in the shotgun. The blocking in the middle of the line. Billy Ratliff, number 40, trying to get to him. Blocking was excellent. And look at the ball he threw, Andy, on a line because he beat Andre Lott on the inside. So he didn't have to put any air under it. As what they say, the shortest distance, shortest distance, straight line, right? Bang, hits him with a dart, and Catane just wins the foot race to the end zone. And I go back again. What did we all say earlier? Bob said it begin. Here you're going to see the penalty on the late hit here, roughing the passer, coming from the top side. Neil Suber catches it from two guys, a high-low. I think that was Raynoch Thompson, number 46, and I didn't just really see who was over the top there, but it was definitely a late hit. But what did we say? Bob said if you let bad teams hang around, those things couldn't happen to you. One play away, and now we have a tie ball game.
Go back to just the throw that you were talking about, him throwing on the line. If Tennessee had the safety back there, again, they were in coverage zero, as you said, no help. There was no reason to try to make a perfect throw or to lead him, anything like that. He just put it on him because there was nobody back there. And even if there had been a safety, I don't know if he could have made a difference. That was a pretty good throw.
That was a really good throw from Neil Suber. And this, one of the few times he had time, even though he was roughed, the pressure came well after the ball was gone. So you have to give credit to the offensive line. Mac McWhorter, the co-offensive coordinator, has to be happy to see his line perform like that.
All right, here's the kick. Tennessee will field it and drop it and pick it up and be dropped. Cedric Wilson is down at the 7-yard line, and Tennessee with a long chunk of real estate in front of them right now, as they have been tied in a stunning turn of events here at Neyland Stadium. 4 plays, 87 yards, took a grand total of 1:49. 82-yard pass play to Catane from Suber ties this game with the extra point. And Tennessee right now 73 total yards on offense, 36 rushing, 37 passing. 10-10 ball game. Getting a little late in the third quarter. Here's T rolling out, throwing, got his man, incomplete.
Something we haven't seen today, rolling T out of the pocket, which is normally Tennessee does that quite a bit. A little play action, rolled T out of the pocket, just late with the throw.
Intended for David Martin. Had he caught it, I think he would have been out of bounds anyway.
I think he was a counter too slow on this one, getting rid of it, Andy, because the receiver ran out of room on the sideline.
Yeah, I would say that he was just late with the throw. The receiver, I was looking downfield. Martin came open for a second, and the ball was just late.
Thinks T had to have a chance to square his shoulders to throw the football getting to the line of scrimmage.
All right, they give it to Jamal, and he gets to about the 10-yard line before he is dropped. Dropped by Calvin Lewis, left defensive tackle for Memphis.
Tennessee comes out and they're very cautious. They run basically a safe pass play, trying to pick up the first down and come out cautiously on second down, with their backs inside the 20-yard line, obviously trying to avoid giving up a big play to Memphis. But when you do that, you kind of limit yourself and a chance for big plays yourself.
Tennessee is 1 of 10 on third downs, 0 for the last 8. This time they're going to be coming up short of the first down.
Again, Tennessee sets up the screen. It looks like it's going to have some success. It looks like Jamal has some people in front of him. And then a good play by Memphis coming up, making the tackle before he gets to the marker.
And how often, Andy and Bob, does a Mack truck lose a battle to a Volkswagen? I'm talking in terms here. Jamal Lewis, number 31, has the screen. Look who makes a tackle. The corner, number 44, Michael Stone. Lewis would be the Mack truck, obviously, and Stone the VW Bug. And he actually won the battle that time, kept it from getting a first down.
I think, Fred, I know the coaches will know more about it than me, but Wary needs to go full speed at the corner. Whether he misses him or not, he kind of got in Jamal's way on the screen. The lineman trying to help Jamal actually kind of got in his way.
Isn't the rule never to look back?
Kicker got knocked down, but the official ruled that it was not a violation.
Going back to your point, Andy, on the lineman getting downfield, it seemed like he was kind of twisting around to locate the back. Isn't the rule to get out there and just go?
Well, it is, and when you're a lineman running the screen, you want to go full speed. If you're going to get the corner, you've got to go full speed. Even if you miss the corner, that allows a running back, Jamal Lewis, who can read blocks, to see that and still make a cutoff of it and probably get the first down.
And good news from Memphis, number 9, Damian Dodson, back on the sideline after medical attention. Hopefully he can get back into the game for the Tigers.
All right, Memphis in good position at the Tennessee 46-yard, or their own 46-yard line. Here's the pass, complete. into Tennessee territory to the 37-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10 to go for Memphis. Tigers now gaining more confidence with every play.
Yeah, Al Sermon, the backup wide receiver, he missed a couple of ball games due to injury. He's back. Andre Lott, the corner, he was the one beat on the last touchdown by Coutain in the man-to-man coverage. It's a simple pass route. Suber goes back, took a look at the wide side. You see that, Andy? Looked for the deep ball, came back to the drag across the middle to Al Sermon.
And off to the big back in the middle, the tailback, Riley. He's got not much there before Dominic Stevenson knocks him down. Big number 35 met by 28, Dominic Stevenson. So it becomes second down and 8 yards to go. They give him 2. Memphis, Tennessee, 10-10. Memphis with the football and driving in Tennessee territory. Ball is on the 36-yard line.
Actually, Memphis is in Ryan White's field goal range probably right now.
That's probably why they're going to keep it on the ground as they drive and get very positive yardage that time. The fullback, Rashad Bailey, carrying the ball, and finally he's hit by Mickey Allen. Mickey Allen's made too many hits out of the secondary tonight, guys. Not getting the help up front that he needs.
It's one thing if Mickey Allen makes a tackle near the line of scrimmage. It's another one if Mickey Allen's making a tackle way downfield. Nice inside handoff to Rashad Bailey. They don't run the fullback very often in this, and so it's a tendency breaker for the defense. You don't see it too often. Every now and then you can catch them and pop it inside. And old Uncle Momentum, he has definitely moved to the Memphis sideline.
Ball is on the 26-yard line where it's first down and 10 to go. They hand off once again, right down the gut they go, and deeper into Tennessee territory goes Riley. Memphis threatening to take the lead here. Raynoch Thompson made the stop.
See here, Memphis still running the football and running it effectively. Now they're getting man-on-man up front with their offensive line, giving a little space in there. Gives Tafil O'Reilly, the backup tailback, a chance to get inside, make 7 yards on the carry, second and short.
All right, Tennessee had a chance to stop him. They let him get a little more yardage and very close to it. Neil Suber, 7 of 15, 192 yards. And a touchdown. Westmoreland is out of the game right now. Is that what you're telling me, Andy?
Yeah, I don't know. He limped off. The trainers came out. They didn't call a timeout, but the trainers grabbed him, and they have him on the sidelines now checking him out. Don't know what it is, though.
So Anthony Sessions, number 22, will take his spot at the outside linebacker. Tafil O'Reilly, who had such a big game last week, he had 103 yards against Arkansas State, 113 for the season. He limps off now, and you know he's frustrated because he was feeling like he was running the ball pretty well. Big third down.
Memphis 3 of 12 on third down. Here's a big one for them. Third down and 1. Deep in Tennessee territory, they try to sneak. It's going to be very, very close. I'm not sure he got it, but there's certainly an easy field goal range for Ryan White.
Good news for Tennessee. Westmoreland's jogging back onto the field, so obviously it wasn't too serious.
Remember your sneak call for T. Martin, Bob?
Yep.
You know, this time you had it right on. You would have been right on target because, again, another big, strong quarterback with that short a distance to go. The sneak's a good call. This is one who doesn't have a bad shoulder, and he weighs 244 pounds, so they just tried to sneak him in there. Looks short.
We're going to guess it's 9 seconds, 9 ticks to go before the end of the quarter. It is going to be short, and they may go for it.
I guess their thinking is that 3 points won't be enough. They want a touchdown in this situation. Look for them to try and draw Tennessee offside and maybe go into the fourth quarter to run this play.
Fourth down, inches to go for a first. Memphis trying to take the lead. Official steps in and stops play with 1 second to go.
It's into the quarter.
Now they're saying that's the end of the quarter, so they will attempt that on the beginning of the fourth quarter. Well, we've got a dandy here in Nashville. Memphis and the Volunteers are tied at 10 apiece. We'll be back in Knoxville after this. They'll try to take a 13-10 lead with Ryan White, who's pretty close to being automatic.
I think it's a good move on Rip Shearer's part. Put all the pressure on the heavy favorite. All of a sudden they look up and they're down. Psychologically, that's difficult for a team because they're not expecting to be in this situation at all. I'm sure during the week, the starters told all the backups, get ready. You're going to get a lot of time this week. Didn't happen. Now they're in there fighting for their lives.
Ball will be spotted on the 24-yard line. 34-yard kick by Ryan White. Hash mark far side. It's on the way. It is good.
I'm sure a big part of the decision-making process for Memphis there is the way their defense has played this whole game, really limiting Tennessee's offense to really nothing. 3 points, and that's it. So I'm sure that was part of it. If Tennessee's scoring points, moving the ball on offense, that's probably a situation where Memphis would go for it to get themselves in the ball game. But the defense is playing so well, and it keeps happening. It's tough to come back sometimes, even if you do think you're a better team, and maybe even if you are.
White's kick down to Cedric Wilson. Looking for some blocking. It's not there. He goes down inside the 15-yard line where Tennessee will put it in play. First down and 10 and a long ways to go. Volunteer offense has done nothing to speak of in this ball game. They have been really stymied. Most of it, well, a lot of it you can credit to Memphis. A lot of it you can credit to Tennessee's own ineptness and bad timing and so forth.
A little of both, I'm sure. Memphis they do cause a lot of problems, but I'm sure there's a lot of mistakes on Tennessee's side of the ball as well.
13 yards on the return. First down on the 13-yard line. Here's T. Martin handing off to Jamal. He drives right over the top of one of his own guys. Got maybe a yard and a half, 2 yards. That's it.
I think the biggest thing is not just execution. I keep coming back to it, and I'll leave it alone at this point. It's emotion. It's being ready to play. And, most time people will blame the coaching staff, and the coaches will probably come out of it and take the blame themselves. I just didn't do a good job of getting my team ready to play. But you don't think that those guys worked on that all week? Sometimes the young men have to take the responsibility to get themselves ready to play in addition to the coaches yelling at them and getting them ready to go. They haven't done that this week. This one's on them so far.
Tennessee in a 4-receiver set this time. T stands up, fires, got his man. Out to about the 20-yard line is Eric Parker, maybe a little bit shy of the 20. Tennessee trailing Memphis. Parker is grabbing at a hamstring, it looks like.
Well, that's tough. The receivers today really have been a non-factor, but obviously Tennessee can't afford to have Parker get hurt. He's been the guy that's been the other go-to guy, so to speak, to help take some of the pressure off Wilson so far this season.
Tennessee is 0 for 9 on third down. 1 for 11 today, 0 for 9 in their last. Here's the handoff, and this time it's going to be close. I think maybe Jamal might have it on the third down situation this time. Looks like he has. Yes, they wave it downfield. First down and 10 to go for the Volunteers. Trailing Memphis with 13 minutes remaining in the contest.
What a difference a week makes. You remember 4th and 3 at Florida, the play doesn't work. I know the fans and the Tennessee natives were all saying, well, why would you call it out in that situation? Here is this 3rd and 3, and they need it, and they need this first down in their own territory. They run the ball in this situation, and it works. Nice cheer from the crowd. If it works, it's a great call. If it doesn't work, it's a lousy call.
Exactly.
T. Martin in the shotgun. Got some time. Gonna run with the football. Coming to the near side, down the sidelines, still on his feet. I think they're going to say he stepped out of bounds up here around the Tennessee 41 or 2-yard line. He went another 10 yards, but he stepped out of bounds. Michael Stone was shadowing him down the sidelines and caused him to step out.
Great decision by T. Martin. He steps up in the pocket, can't find anybody open, steps up. Nice job by the lineman. We call it a White technique to get the lineman out of the way so the quarterback can see and or tuck it and run. Good job by T. Nice job by Spencer Riley clearing the path for him. And T gets upfield. I'm sure he didn't want to step out of bounds that soon, but still a big first down.
First down and 10 to go at the 41-yard line of Tennessee. T. Martin stands up, fires out in the flat to Cedric Wilson. Nowhere to go. Played beautifully that time by Reginald Howard, left cornerback for Memphis. Dropped him.
I tell you before the ball game, those corners are active. And they played that way the whole way today. Reginald Howard read the play, came out of his responsibility, and made a nice open field tackle. That's one of those tackles, you know, as a fan, people come out of their seats on the big shot. You know, boom, big bang out of people. These are the ones that win ball games. Open field tackles, just get the guy on the ground. Look at that, right? Nice technique, wrap up, put him down. That's all you worry about.
As you know, Charles, that's not an easy thing to do, to tackle a guy in open field one-on-one.
Receivers think they're going to win that battle.
Lost 3 yards. T. Martin scoops it up after a bad snap from center and gets a little bit of positive yardage, maybe back to the original line of scrimmage, where it will become a 3rd and 10 situation for Tennessee.
Bob, you see the bad snap there?
Yep.
Actually, Spencer Riley's out of the game. Toby Chapman is in the game right now, champion, and possibly hadn't got a lot of work this week at it. There's a bad snap. We talked about the possibility of a bad snap for Spencer Riley. Spencer's not in there now, and we get a bad snap from the backup.
This may be the biggest play of the game right here. One of them, certainly for Tennessee on offense. They need about 9 yards for a first down. They're at their own 41-yard line, and T goes into the gun. Fires complete. First down and a lot more. Cedric Wilson. Flag is down in the Tennessee backfield, though, so hang on to everything. Roughing the passer.
I think that's what the call would be back there. I saw him make the preliminary call for a personal foul. I'm sure he'll come out, the official will come out and tell us now. Tennessee will definitely decline it. That's a big play. Brought the crowd back into it a little bit, Andy. Everybody out of their seat now. Not mumbling and murmuring, but now they're happy. They're excited. We have a chance.
Personal foul. Roughing the quarterback. Defense. 15 yards from the end of the run.
They're going to tack it on at the end of the play.
You see T here, this is similar to the play earlier when T missed Wilson for a possible touchdown on the seam route. This time he puts it on the line, sees it in time, gets it to him in perfect timing, and Wilson is able to catch it in stride and get a lot of yards. And as you said, the 15 yards tacked on is a huge penalty.
16-yard line is the line of scrimmage. Tennessee trailing. Throwing complete. Complete to Dante Stallworth. That's a guy we've expected for the last couple of ball games to emerge as a factor in the Tennessee offense, and he did right here.
You see T again, 2 plays in a row. Nice time to throw. Steps into his throw on the target. Last 2 plays. Stallworth with his 2nd catch of the year is a big one. Puts him inside the 5.
All right, do you put it in the hands of Jamal here? Let's see. Fumble. Memphis football.
Again, we go back to it. We talked about the quarterback center exchange early in the game. A lot of times people take that for granted. Spencer Riley comes into the game with a broken hand, having to snap left-handed. Obviously, champions in the game, not a lot of experience, and it's biting Tennessee right now. 2 fumble snaps on this series. And in this situation, in the goal line, it's so crucial for the quarterback and center to be on the same page, because when you're down this tight and short yardage, as you notice, the center's trying to fire out as hard as he can to get low, and the quarterback really has to ride, and that's the toughest time to get a quarterback-center exchange when you're in short yardage situations, because the center's so aware of coming out low and getting his guy that sometimes there can be a problem.
It's a huge stand here for Tennessee's defense because they've got them pinned back. They have to show maturity and keep Memphis pinned in there and keep field position.
Crowd is into it now, trying to encourage the defense. Here's the handoff, nothing. Flag goes down. Flag down on the play.
Snap. False start. Offense.
It's against Memphis. It'll move the ball back half the distance to the goal line.
That's really a shame that that's called. That Tennessee stops him, probably loses a couple of yards, and really going to get the same effect from the penalty. But it's going to be first down again.
Right, it's still first down. Now what do you do if you're Rip Shear? How much of a riverboat gambler are you here? Because you need to get Tennessee's pressure off of you. They're going to jam the line of scrimmage, they're going to run the ball. Rip's thinking about a timeout here, I think, to talk about it, but I guess he's getting his guys off. Do you go play action and try and loosen them up, or do you just run the ball in here and try and punt and get out?
First down, 11 yards to go for a first. A lot of movement again on the line, and nothing's going to happen as far as Memphis moving the ball offensively. I see no flags, though, but it was dangerously close to being another penalty right here.
Well, that helps when you're 244 pounds, doesn't it, Bob, to run that sneak right at someone. He got low, and with that weight, and here's a little tidbit for you. Neil Suber in high school was a fullback before they moved him to quarterback, so he does know how to run it a little bit.
Gets a bit of a breathing room there. It becomes second down and 9.
Coming out of a tight formation, you know, this is one now. If you go play action pass and try and spring someone.
Nothing going there. Tennessee drops the tailback in his tracks, fullback Bailey. So it becomes a big third down here. Tennessee can hold, get the ball back in real good field position. We've still got some time left. 9 minutes, 26 seconds. 9:26 to go in the contest.
Plenty of time left. I mean, they're not in a panic situation yet. Tennessee just wants a big play, but you notice where Ripsher ran the ball again. That's why he's the head coach at Memphis and I'm not. You know, I play him with house money up here. It's easy for me to make a call. My job's not on the line.
And again, just like the decision on the field goal, the way his defense is playing is going in his thought process and what he's doing now.
He's going to try to throw out of here. Tennessee receiver has his back to the ball, our defender, but the ball is overthrown to Contain, and it's incomplete. It will force a punting situation for Memphis. They've got a great kicker, though, Candy, who's been hitting them around 50 yards in this ball game. Eric Parker will be the man on the spot for Tennessee. Try to set the balls up in good field position with a little over 8 minutes. 8:57 remaining. Memphis leading in a stunning ball game here in Neyland Stadium, Knoxville, Tennessee. Homecoming, 99 for the Vols. Candy right on the goal line.
I think they set up the return here. You don't want to take any chance of roughing the kicker. You want the football back.
Tennessee faking as though they're going to run, but they're not going to run in there at all. They're going to let him kick and try to return it. Eric Parker settles under it at the 49 of Memphis. Back across midfield, looking for the sidelines. Got a little bit of room and gets down to the 40-yard line. Cedric Wilson, check that, not Eric Parker. Cedric was the man back there this time. Remember, Eric Parker went off kind of holding a hamstring about the last series of plays, and so Cedric steps back to return the kick this time and did a nice job of it. They spotted on the 39-yard line. It's a 47-yard punt, a 12-yard return. Tennessee puts it in play. They've got time, but they cannot afford the mistakes. Remember, they got inside the 5 and fumbled a snap from center. An exchange and killed a chance to go on top. They still trail, and there it is again. Oh, my goodness. This one may go down in the books as a game that Tennessee lost because of a substitution at center.
That's so big. I mean, the quarterback center exchange, we go back to it inside the 5-yard line, probably cost Tennessee a touchdown. Again, here on first down inside Memphis' 40. Now we're back on our side of the 50. It's such a huge play. A good job by T, a good decision just to get on the ball and protect it, but we're in a bad situation.
Now, if you're Randy Sanders and the offensive coordinator, you're thinking, I'm limiting my playbook a little bit. I can't go with the gun anymore. I have to go with the quarterback center exchange and hope that they can pull that off successfully.
All right, T has a little bit of time. It's breaking down. Now he fires way too high. Had Dante Stallworth open down at the 35-yard line, but pressured a little bit. He gunned it a little too high, so here comes another play, folks. What do you have in your book that's third down and 27?
That's a tough situation. Initially coming out, T has the time, steps up, really can't find a receiver. Then Stallworth comes open late, and he just misfires with it a little bit.
And Spencer Riley is back in the ball game at center for Tennessee.
Hurting or not, he's the man they need right there. They've got a mile to go for a first down. He's got to really go downfield with it. Flags go down, and so does T. Martin, but there's a flag back here in the Tennessee backfield. 2 flags, as a matter of fact. One over here on the sideline and one in the backfield.
The initial flag is holding against Tennessee. We'll see what the second one is.
If they retreat and take the penalty here, well, we'll just wait and see what they do.
I doubt Memphis will take the penalty.
There's 27 yards to go for a first anyway.
They'll want the football. I mean, that's key for Memphis right now is the football. Field position's one thing, but having the ball and try and run the clock as much as you can is another. There's still plenty of time. I mean, it's 7:45. Tennessee has all of their timeouts, as does Memphis. Memphis, of course, we're not looking to use any. Tennessee still has them all if they need them for, last couple of drives. And, Tennessee's defense, despite, they've given up one big play today. The rest of the time, they pretty much handled Memphis.
Both of them holding on the offense. will enforce the one that's more damaging to the offense. 10 yards, spot of the foul, replay to down.
So 2 holding penalties on the same play against Tennessee. They will take the one from the spot that further punishes Tennessee a little bit more, and that puts the ball all the way back to the 30-yard line, where it becomes, folks, 3rd down and 41 yards to go for a first down.
So they did play a little field position with accepting that penalty instead of just taking the ball there. They are confident in how their defense is playing, don't you think, Andy?
Yeah, they're in a prevent type defense right here.
Intercepted by Memphis. Down to Tennessee territory, the 28-yard line. A complete miscommunication between the quarterback and the receiver. Fred Powell, the free safety, stepped in as though he were the receiver.
Yeah, the receiver never saw it, Andy. I mean, he was running that seam route in the middle, never looking back.
So you get the snap here, T. Steps, throws, fires. Looked like a timing type route. I don't know. It's hard to tell who's at fault there and who should have been, if the receiver's where he should have been, or if T was a little too early with it. It's hard to tell. It appeared T threw to an open area, but I don't know if that's the area the receiver was supposed to be in or not.
Right, Dante Stallworth was running his route and wasn't looking back for it, and as Bob said, Powell became the receiver.
7 minutes and 24 seconds to go, and Memphis with the lead and the football, and driving for a first down or close to it is Gerard Arnold.
Again, it's crucial here for the Tennessee defense to try to hold Memphis to a field goal. If we get down by 10 points, that's going to be a tough duty for Tennessee the way the offense has been today.
Gerard Arnold limping off the field again, the starting tailback. He's shown a lot of grit today, hasn't he, guys? He's limped off 2 or 3 times, but he keeps coming back and making nice runs.
Sugar Sanders replaces him in the lineup at tailback.
And Sugar Sanders last week dropped 2 on the ground going in. So if there's a guy that you want carrying the ball that you're trying to get it out of right now for Tennessee, he's the guy.
Here's the handoff to Sanders. He's still bouncing around out there trying to gain something, but couldn't gain anything. So it becomes a 2nd down and 10 situation. By the way, Arnold has 16 carries in this ball game for 39 yards. They will give him maybe a half a yard or so, make it 2nd down and 9 to go for Memphis. They're definitely an easy field goal range, but right now they're thinking touchdown, leading the Volunteers 13-10.
See the receivers coming across field, number 81 there. I think that's Trip Higgins for Memphis, taking on the All-American Deion Grant.
2nd down and 9. Tennessee needs a big play defensively. They get a little bit of a break here in that the receiver could not get to the sideline and out of bounds. Rashad Bailey, Deion Grant made the stop on him that time. He couldn't turn the corner after he caught the pass because Grant came up pretty fast, so it becomes 3rd down and 8. Got only about a yard out of it.
And Rusty Burns and Mac McWhorter, the co-offensive coordinators from Memphis, some conservative play calling here because they have almost Mr. Automatic Ryan White back there where they can line up and kick this field goal and put all the pressure on Tennessee, who have to score a touchdown in order to beat them. I think again here, if it is a pass, it's a conservative type of a pass.
Arnold is back in at tailback, and they give it to Arnold. He's got a big hole and a first down. It'll be 1st and goal for Memphis. Tennessee on the verge of going down by 10 points. 13-10, Memphis leading. This is almost a replay of the last meeting between these two teams. Tennessee was a lopsided favorite in that ball game. Went down to Memphis and lost it. One of the real stunning upsets of the year in college football, and this one would rank maybe as the biggest because Tennessee was favored by 30 points in this game. We've still got 5 minutes to go, 5 minutes in the football game. Here's the handoff and nothing doing as they drop him. Maybe got a yard. Gerard Arnold down to the 4-yard line is where they're going to spot it. It's goal to go at that point.
You know, normally, Bob, in this situation, time wouldn't be a huge factor. Obviously, it is a little bit of a factor, but whatever happens on this series, whether it's a field goal, touchdown, or even if Tennessee somehow makes a big play and gets the ball back, time is becoming a factor because of the way Tennessee has struggled on offense. They're going to have, if they're going to drive it, they're going to have to use a lot of time because they haven't gotten a lot of big plays today.
Tennessee clawing at that football, trying to jerk it out of there, but Memphis protecting it very well. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Super rolling, firing, had a man there, incomplete. Led him just about a half a foot too much. Tennessee defender actually making a tackle on him, though, as the ball was in the air.
And that's like a run-pass option for the quarterback. If it's Travis Anglin in the game, number 15, that probably becomes a run for Memphis. With Neil Super in the game, who's not super fleet of foot, he's looking to try and make a pass. And I think on the backside, he's looking for the tight end, Billy Kendall. Almost could have been some interference back there. I saw him kind of get tripped up in there.
Big down right here.
Memphis 4 for 15 on third down. They hand it off. Helmets fly everywhere, and nothing doing as far as Memphis is concerned, so it'll be field goal time. Rashad Bailey, the fullback, really stacked up by a host of volunteers, including Westmoreland, Walker.
You notice how many guys from Tennessee are taking a long time getting up off of the ground after plays now? Helmets are coming off a lot. Memphis is getting all the surge right now. I mean, Tennessee did a good job stacking up that play, but Memphis's offensive line is feeling pretty good about themselves. I feel like they're making a lot of plays. Tennessee seems to almost be holding on at this stage, and this is what they needed, was a field goal. A touchdown would have been a killer. A field goal, still have plenty of hope.
Got a chance with a field goal. With a touchdown, I don't think so. Could there be a fake here? Well, Tennessee better hold their breath on this one. His kick is up, it's in the air, and it is good. And Memphis extends the lead over the Volunteers to 16-10.
Returner, he needs to try and hit a seam and get upfield. Not a lot of dancing in this situation.
He comes across the 10. Got a little bit of a seam to the 21 or 22-yard line. Tennessee puts it in play with the clock stopped at 3:09. And a lot of yardage, 79 yards in front of them. Closer maybe to 78. There's the drive, 8 plays, 25 yards. Time took 4:05, capped by the 21-yard field goal.
We talk about the polls and what the spread was today. Right now, Coach Former and the Tennessee players right now, the only spread they're thinking about is 1 point. Let's get 1 point ahead of Memphis right now, and then we'll worry about everything else tomorrow.
Yeah, they'd like to score, kick an extra point, and run to the locker room before someone makes them give it back.
Exactly.
But they've got a long way to go before that happens.
All right, T. Martin at quarterback. Really a burden on him right now. He's being dragged down. Tennessee's offensive line not doing its job on that one, as Marcus Bell just bowled his way in and made the stop.
It was a short drop back, Andy. And when you go short drop, what does that mean for your offensive line? You've got to hold the line of scrimmage, because otherwise they're right back in his face.
You got to be solid up front, and on the other hand, the ball should be out quickly. But you do, especially when your front three has to be solid, because the quarterback's right there, right behind you.
Fire is complete. It should be enough for a first down, or right at the first down mark. And it should stop the clock, but it's not. Apparently it is 2:24 and the clock running now. They stop it with a timeout. Tennessee calls a timeout.
Tennessee, timeout.
Well,
so they're ruling it's not a first down then.
As we talked earlier, you obviously try to get the first down, not only to keep the drive alive, to get another first down, but to stop the clock. You come up a little short, Tennessee has to burn a timeout.
But the key now is they had to take timeout there. It's a good timeout by Tennessee. But when they get the first down, what do they have to do? And you have to get up on the line, it's going to be ready to go, because stopping the clock, they only stop it long enough to do what? Set the chains.
More than likely, Tennessee right now, what they're going to do, they're going to call a play, possibly a running play, just to get the first down, and probably call 2 plays in the huddle, get right back on the ball, run another play, and then go back into the, if the clock's still running, then get into the 2-minute situation where T. Martin's had to make the decision, make the call on the run, get the team to the line, and control the team that way. But more than likely here, we're going to see 2 plays in the huddle called.
It's interesting because as lethargic as they've been throughout the ball game, now you're going into a hurry-up type of a mode. Can they get themselves in that type of a gear and do it effectively? Because you don't want it to be a real scramble around who goes where situation. You have to do it crisply, efficiently, and get up there and get it taken care of. Now they have to switch gears. That's, again, they have to switch gears.
And it may spark the guys a little bit, getting into a different mode, getting into a different situation. Tennessee comes in now with 2 tight ends, obviously concentrating just on the first down at this point. But again, like we said, it could spark the team. It could be a do or die situation. Maybe lift them up a little bit.
Cedric Wilson has 8 catches for 65 yards for Tennessee in this game. They give it off to Jamal. He's battling. He should have the first down, and they should stop the clock right here.
Now the clock stopped. It's time enough for Tennessee to make their substitution, get the tight ends out of the game, get 4 receivers back in the game, and still get on the line of scrimmage and get a playoff without much time going off the clock. You see T. Martin there. T's trying to get the team ready. Coach Former trying to direct things on the sideline. T on the field getting things set up for when the clock starts. You'll be ready to go and not waste much time off the clock.
Clock has started now. It's 2:13 and ticking. T. Martin at quarterback with the receivers, 2 at the bottom, 2 at the top of the screen. Fires. It's complete to Cedric Wilson. Not much yardage though, out to the 40-yard line. And Tennessee's got to hurry up again.
Again, with 2 minutes, you get to the line. T. Martin's got to direct the offense now, be the coach on the field, call the pass play, get to the line of scrimmage, tell them what protection he wants, and get the ball snapped.
And that was a great tackle in the secondary by Keidron Ward, because Cedric Wilson was going to make that spin move and try and get to the outside. Sure tackle.
T dances away from a defender, fires it long. Caught it! Bobby Graham.
We talked about Tennessee needing a receiver to step up and make a play. Bobby Graham comes out with obviously the biggest play of the year so far. Now the Tennessee offense has to get it in the end zone. T. Martin struggled a little bit, had the pressure, had Jamal Lewis open for a first down, took a chance, gave his guy a chance to catch it, and what a huge catch that was. It was only 2nd and 1. You see the pressure coming up. T avoids that. You can't see in your screen, but he had Jamal open, would have gotten the first down easily. Took a shot downfield, trying to let one of his guys make a play. T couldn't get a lot of mustard on it because he did get hit, and Graham just goes out and battles for it and comes down with the ball.
53-yard catch. All right, you got to be careful and protect the ball right here. T. Martin is going to keep it down to the 1-yard line. 1-yard line is where it's going to be down. There's a flag down, though. Hang on to everything. Holding against Tennessee.
Oh, no.
Conference USA officials working this one.
Well, they seemed like they were pretty impartial earlier. Maybe they look up and realize the situation. I'm not sure that this was going to be a bad call.
Offense. 10 yards. Spotted a foul. Replay. First down.
Minute 24. 1:24 remaining. Tennessee with the football, but this time it's pulled out to the 15-yard line, where it becomes 1st and 15.
But that's not unusual on a slow developing play, Andy. When it takes that long to get there, it's not unusual for them to end up in a hole. Guys are desperate to keep guys off of T. They got to sustain a long time. Sometimes guys reach out and grab someone.
Really now the clock really is not a factor right now at this point. But if Tennessee doesn't get it moving, get it in, it could become a factor even though they're this close. But they do have 2 timeouts remaining.
1:05 and running. Here's the pass complete to Cedric Wilson. Touchdown, Tennessee, with 1 minute to go. Oh, boy. If I may borrow a line from Keith. 16-16. Alex Walls about to attempt the biggest kick of his life.
Again, you go back to the same play 3 times now. Tennessee's run this with Wilson up the seams.
Yes, it's good. Alex Walls puts the balls on top. 17-16. Wow.
Again, you come back with Wilson right up the seam. Wilson's been the go-to guy all year. Again, in the situation, pretty good coverage. Martin with a perfect throw. Wilson with a great catch, getting it in the end zone. And you look at that drive in a crucial situation. It's do or die time. T. Martin comes up with some big plays. The veteran, the guy that's led you to a national championship, the guy you've got to rely on to make big plays. He's banged up a little bit, but T. Martin comes up with a huge drive in crucial situation and possibly the game winner when Tennessee had to have it.
People are standing up and starting for the exits. That's a mistake. We've still got a minute of football to go in a wild contest here in Knoxville.
Did you just hear that big collective sigh of relief that came out of people? There's still a minute to go and plenty of time, but boy, people are relieved around here. Maybe they can have their homecoming party after the ball game.
This goes back to what Andy said in the Florida game. big play people have to make big plays.
Oh, without a
T.
doubt.
Martin, Cedric Wilson, big play people. There you go.
Especially in crucial situations.
Especially, and the offensive line. The first play of the series, T had a little pressure, but after that,
They hung in there tough and did a good job.
and at least he didn't have all day to throw on some of the plays, but at least they gave him enough time to find his receiver, find his targets, and allowed him to make some plays.
And the guys playing hurt. Think about that. T. Martin playing hurt. Spencer Riley trotting back into the ball game with that broken hand. He'd been out for a while. You know, he said, yeah, nothing from nothing leaves nothing at this place. My senior year, I'm not going to let it get away. He tried to back out, and it was a big factor in that last drive.
Without a doubt, those guys on both sides of the ball, actually, Tennessee and Memphis, those players, regardless if Tennessee fans think Tennessee should be up by 30 points, but both teams are playing their hearts out, and the guys in the orange and the blue, they're playing hard as they can play, and especially in a situation like this.
3-yard line. Memphis with the ball. Out across. Flags go down the 27-yard line. T. Martin, 15 of 28, 172 yards. Hey, we need to point out, too, Memphis got 3 timeouts left.
I'm curious to see who comes in at quarterback for Memphis in this situation. It should be Neil Suber. He's their leader, and I know he's not as mobile as Travis Anglin, but Travis Anglin has struggled.
Holding on the receiver.
Break for the Vols there.
Big break for him.
Conference USA made that call, too.
Yes, and Suber is coming into the ball game. You see everybody trying to get the crowd up on defense now. The Suber should be the quarterback in here now. Anglin, they tried to use against Mississippi State in a similar situation. Throws an interception at a crucial time. The best thing about freshman Andy is what? They become sophomores. You know, you want them to grow up. Suber should have the control in this situation, and he does.
Memphis been penalized 14 times for 88 yards. They've got a long ways to go, 90 yards. Tennessee puts the pressure on. Complete! Out here to the almost the 40-yard line. And the clock shows still a lot of time, 46 seconds to go, as Memphis moves that football out of their shadow of their own goal post.
And you can't give up a lot of yardage here, Bob, because don't forget who they have on the sideline, Ryan White, who has that 50-plus yard capability and is pretty accurate. You don't want to put it in a field goal situation.
Field goal range, they could win it. Pass is incomplete. Tennessee dangerously close to being offsides on that one, too.
Memphis got away with a hold on the same play. Sean Ellis crashing down from the left side from his left defensive end position, working against number 75, DeCorey Hampton. And I saw Hampton hold him, but he got away with it on that play.
35 seconds.
One of the reasons for the hold, because Ellis did get off the ball so quickly. He was almost in the backfield as the quarterback got the exchange. Kind of
learned something from Alex Brown last week about timing getting off the ball.
35 seconds to go. Ball at the Memphis 38-yard line.
Blitz.
Tennessee holding those hands up, incomplete. Really putting pressure on the quarterback that time. And Darwin Walker was one of them.
They got to give John Chavis a lot of credit in this situation, the Tennessee defensive coordinator. A lot of people would sit him to prevent, but he's well aware of number 82 over there too, the kid with the leg, Ryan White. He doesn't want him to have any chance to get in the field goal range, so he's not playing a prevent. He's playing a base defense. He even blitzed on that play, but he still had coverage back there. You notice it was a man-free coverage, Andy. I doubt they'll go to a straight zero. They want to have a safety man back there just in case a play breaks.
With straight man-to-man, they've already been burned once on it today. I'd be shocked if that
and number 7 is back in center field, a good guy to have, Deion Grant.
Here comes the pressure on Super. Yeah, it paid off. Incomplete. Pressure caused that. He had no chance. So we come down to one play. 4th down and 10. 23 seconds to go. Raynock Thompson put on the best pressure that time. There's Raynock.
Memphis.
Yeah, Neil Suber, you see coming down. Great pressure from the outside. Looked like Sean Ellis again beating DeCorey Hampton.
Will
Overstreet also in his face. Neil Suber, the thing about it, he's not very mobile. We've talked about time and time again. But in this situation, he's the right guy to be running the offense because he has a better grasp of things than Travis Anglin. That's a good throw by him, avoiding the sack and throwing it in an area where number 13, Al Sermon, ended up being in the area, so they couldn't throw a flag for intentional grounding. It's 4th and 10. Rip Scherer has to look on his play card, Andy, and come up with his 4th and 10 play. And I know he's got a special one in there that he might call right now.
I'm sure when you have a play sheet, you have different situations. As you well know, there's on the offensive coordinator's play sheet, there's different situations, and there's a category that you put in. You know, you have your desperation plays, then you have your 4th down, what you're going to do, short yardage 4th down situation, what you're going to do in long yardage situations. And as you said, that was a great throw by Super just to get rid of it and avoid the sack.
Because time continues to run when you take the sack there. They still would have taken the timeout,
but
the yardage would have been 4th and 20 or so. And the other thing here is John Chavis now, I doubt that he blitzes. I think he comes with enough pressure because he's getting it from his front 4 and has everyone else in lanes playing zone. Can't give up the big play. You just want to make the tackle on the receiver if they catch the ball in front of the sticks.
4th and 10, 23 seconds. 23 in the shotgun. Got time. Fires incomplete. No flags.
Well, I hate to bring this up now. Tennessee obviously going to have an opportunity to take a knee to run the clock out, but you still have to get the snap, and that's been a problem today.
Still got to see a shotgun situation. Super had plenty of time trying to get it into contain, but Andre Lott, who was beaten on the touchdown pass earlier, nice coverage on that play. And the best part about it, he didn't go over the top and interfere. He was really waiting for the ball to get to contain, and he's going to go over the top and strip him and knock the ball out. Smart play by Andre Lott. Avoided the penalty and also broke up the pass. And now you got collective sigh of relief if they can get this snap done and get it taken care of. Tennessee can go to the locker room happy with a win. Memphis again frustrated, guys. I've seen them now 3 times. 3-0 Ole Miss, 13-10 Mississippi State, and now they're going to lose by 1 point to Tennessee.
Tennessee's got a safety back there just in case anything happens, and it stops the clock. Memphis does with 13 seconds to go.
I'm sure Coach Fulmer and the staff and team and they do have a sigh of relief right now, but I promise you that's only going to last for a few minutes. By the time they get in that locker room, they're going to be thinking and talking about what they can do differently, what happened today, and they can't wait to get in the film room to try to decide just, you know, what happened today and what can we do to avoid this in the future.
And it's not just the film room. You know what else they want to get into? They want to get on the practice field because
without a doubt.
They got everything accomplished that they needed to in terms of they won the football game, but now the coaches definitely can get their players' attention because they escaped with a win, so they're happy. But now you can really grind them and say, guys, you see what happens? If you don't come ready to play, it can happen to any time against anyone, and now they have Exhibit A that they can flash to every time the rest of the year. Anytime practice is lethargic, hey, you remember Memphis, guys? Are we going to go through that again?
Documented evidence.
That's right. Are we going to go through that again? I don't think so.
Memphis.
So now that, you know, Coach Fulmer and his staff very happy about that part of it.
Memphis got 1 timeout left. T takes the knee, and timeout, I guess, is going to be called again by Memphis, and this will be it.
And probably in any other situation, Memphis would let the clock run. But since Tennessee has had problems all day with the snaps, you know, I don't blame Memphis for taking their timeouts and making Tennessee snap it one more time.
9 seconds to go. One more snap will do it. Tennessee came in favored by 30. Believe me, trust me when I tell you they're happy to get out of here with a 1-point win.
Now, if you're the athletic director of Tennessee, do you rethink that 10-year home and home with Memphis and try and find someone else?
Got to go there in a couple of years.
Now you got to go there in a couple of years, which is good for the Tennessee fans, which is part of the reason this rivalry is so great, because Tennessee fans extend all the way through. So the people in West Tennessee love to have the Vols come to town. But Rip Shear's done such a good job of recruiting and stockpiling some talent. They're very close, guys. They just need that breakthrough win. The one in '96 wasn't it because they weren't ready for that. That was just a big upset. Now, if they had won today, I guarantee that would have been a springboard. It's just unfortunate for Rip that they didn't get it done.
There's the knee and the end of the ball game. And the players congratulate each other. There's Coach Scheer and Coach Fulmer. You got to tip your hat, guys, to the Memphis Tigers. They came in here against the number 7 team in the nation, a 30-point underdog, a crowd of over 100,000.